unspeakable crime, murder at midnight. A deal I made, a life I had to take. Someone I loved once held so tight. The screams will follow me, cries of my ancestors said, go away. My operate, fasting in grain, shape-shifting. I feel the animal hide by me. I feel the change. I feel the change coming. We are one but not the same. This form I desire, innocent blood I will devour. Ancestors gathering round the dwelling, the spirit inhabiting, evil enveloping, the dancing graves in the night, the spirit occupying and transforming, stolen heights, dark practices, my secret life, feathered outers, mysticism, intriguing, my operate, fasting in grain, shape-shifting. I feel the animal hide by me. I feel the change. I feel the change coming. We are one but not the same. Give me the ability to hide in plain sight, so no one can see me, not even in the light. I am the crawler, I'm a within, I'm nobody's friend. This initiation is all part of the dark creation. My desires performing incantations. I walk in disguise. If I catch you, it's your demise. Shamanism, my religion, summoning spirits, manifesting myself and changing my flesh. A nightmare to behold. I'ma make you part of the fold. The skin of a man, the soul of a predator. The change is complete. This thing I become, my flesh has succumbed. My operate, fasting in grain, shape-shifting. I feel the animal hide by me. I feel the change. I feel the change coming. We are one but not the same. Overflowing elation. take me, what could not break me to feel so alive, overflowing elation, ready for war, ready for war, ready for war, ready for war. I see the bear in me, eye to eye, we become one, proudly in hunting till I am the bear king. Bite that brings out. In the dark you hear a growl. Monsters in the night, unnatural appetite. A demon sent me here to take you to the afterlife. I feel something change inside of me. The inner human slowly dead in me. I feel it come alive. The darkness brings me light. There ain't no stopping it, and you will never hide from me. Pain of the change. What have I become? A creature of the night, ruled by moonlight. The pain of the change. This body's no longer mine. Feel wild and free, but caged at the same time. It's hard to be human, think human, feel human. A hunger's arising inside of me. The beast is alive and break it free. It's hard to be human, think human, feel human. Keep putting more chains on the beast. Hope it don't break loose. You better hope so too. I'm still inside. I'm still here. What have I done? When did this all start? I have become a monster in the dark, a hunger like no other, running on instinct. What's this creature always inside of me? The pain of the change. What have I become? A creature of the night, ruled by moonlight. The pain of the change. This body's no longer mine. Feel wild and free, but caged at the same time. It's hard to be human, think human, feel human. A hunger's arising inside of me. The
All right, folks. Let me move around here a little bit. Let me see where. Trying to make myself look better. People are like, yeah, keep trying. He's not the most handsome lad, but he tells a good story. We'll let him make it. And then there's others that are like, I hate that guy. I don't care what he does. He could cure cancer and save my life. And I still hate him. Probably what it is. Somebody's Brandy. Oh, hey, Brandy from Blondes and Booze. How y'all doing? Great show. Great people. I'm feeling better. Actually, I'm not feeling too good. I'll be really honest with you, folks. So it's not going to stop the show. And I say that because I want your sympathy, prayers, and I want you money. Give us money. That's all we care about. You know that. And then also because I want you to know that I'm in pain and I'm still doing this for you. That's the kind of guy I am. Very humble. Very, very humble. I've already said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm the humblest of the humbles. And you people you just don't get it. You don't understand how humble I am.
But mainly we just do this for their money so I can buy more of these. God dang, these things are good.
What is it?
I never had these before. It's like, I don't know. They were in the bag.
That's from Yvonne's.
Like, it says ink and peanuts. There's some kind of seed. I mean, I'm over here munching on these things.
Yeah, we can tell. We can hear it. It's very distracting.
Yeah. What about now? Yeah, better. Hang on.
This is why people don't want to donate right here. We don't need this.
Hang on, wait. Check this out.
We don't need it.
Oh, no.
Okay, we're not going to show that.
Is that better?
We don't need that.
I don't know.
The banner at the bottom seems like it's taking part of the deal away there. How do we do that? How do we get rid of that banner?
I got it.
I got it. I hit it. So tonight, I mean, like, you know, I'm always excited to do the show, but like I was in so much pain last night, folks. My blood pressure was through the absolute roof. I mean, it was bad. And I was being told to go to the hospital. They're not going to do anything. They're just going to give me pain meds that I can't take because they make me sick. And I don't like pain medication. So I don't have anything I can really do. I take a natural supplement called Curamed, which has like turmeric and a bunch of other stuff there. I think it's got white willow bark or something. I'm not 100%, but it's got a bunch of stuff. And it helps with inflammation. But I am taking a supplement now for it gets rid of the uric acid, but it's not. It's not. It's a supplement. It was recommended by Jessie from Hellbin Holler, and thank God that she's our friend because thank you. I want to publicly thank you for that because that stuff is working. Unfortunately, it does have the same effects as a regular medication that I was given by my doctor, and it causes gout flare-ups.
Yeah,
for the first week
because it breaks down the stone.
Yeah, because it's breaking down. So the kidney stone, I feel like it's gotten smaller. I can feel it moving around. It's horrible. It is horrible. 6 millimeters. A buddy of mine had a 4 millimeter stone. And he was rolling around the floor at his dealership. So, and then you talked to Jason over the Anthony traded in his vehicle. Anthony takes care of things. You took really good care of that vehicle. You almost got back what you paid for it.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, dude. I mean, you got a great deal. That's because you take care of your business. That's awesome. I'm glad for you. Appreciate it. It's okay. I don't have a new truck, but you got one. That's fine. I don't need one. Nobody gives me money. So
sometimes,
you know what? Show's over, man. You're not gonna help me.
Sometimes those little people get to have nice things and it makes them mad.
You're not gonna help me?
Yeah. Us little tiny insignificant people.
Oh, wow. You said it. I didn't.
You can't stand when we win.
Now spelling T's. Hey, spelling head. I don't think I saw you. I think you last couple of times. I think you were. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember. I remember you not being here. She says for the kidney stone and flare-ups of gout. Yep, and yeah, that's exactly what it is. So what it does is it causes the flare-ups in your joints because of the uric acid. Because it's the stuff that's called stone breaker because it's got chance piedra in it. And I've taken that before. So Jesse reached out to us along with a few other people. Thank you. I don't know who all did. They reached out to Nellie. and because I'm so busy, I can't even scratch my head. So this past week, and we're waiting till we get to 300, folks. Just hang in there. So this past week, we were super busy, super busy. So we had virtually nothing that we could do. Edith Gomez says hello from New Braunfels. That's cool because New Braunfels will be mentioned on the show tonight. That is actually really cool that somebody from New Braunfels. Who's this again? Edith Gomez. Nice that somebody from New Braunfels. That's crazy. We were talking about this stuff on the way over here. And once again, Jerry Hernandez Ranch, he hit me a home run. Howard, thank you for that donation. He says, shout out from Norway. The Sami people. We're gonna talk about them and the Mountain of Fear. I have a whole show prepared for that. I haven't gotten to it yet. I have about, I think, what was it? We counted the other day, like 11 shows is ready to go. We have some that are already recorded, and we haven't let them out yet because this past week we were so busy, but also because I've been in excruciating pain, like every day or every other day. The kidney stone, and now it's flared up into my elbow. The gout has that stonebreaker. It does what the allopurinol does, except it's probably a lot healthier because it's natural. And so there's very few side effects, but one of the side effects is brutal. When the uric acid is coming out of your joints, it's like a flare up happens, and it is absolutely obnoxiously horrific. And so now my elbow is swelled up and I am in excruciating pain. And there's only one supplement that I'll take, or one medication that I'll take for that. And it's specifically for gout flare-ups. And it's made for, it's weird. It's, if you take it for anything else, it really doesn't do anything. It's really weird. My doctor was telling me about it. It's called colchicine, whatever. Yeah. So you could take it and it relieves some of the pain. So my blood pressure has been so high, so bad. So please just pray for me that things can get back on track. Because I got a lot of things to do. I don't have time for pain. And this other Nellie didn't want me to do the show tonight. And I said, man, I got things to do. And Nellie's she's looking out for me. That's all it is. She's a concerned wife. She's been helping me. I'm not comfortable, folks. I'm kind of going to be moving around trying to figure out something I can lay my arm on. I don't know what though. But so what ended up happening? We get a message from Jerry, not out of the blue. I was talking to his brother Robbie. Well, I mean, I already gave up his name. Oh, cool, a hoodie. We'll put it on a hoodie. Which we did order the new hoodies, so that's going to be in. And this week, because of me being either on the go or in pain, I have not been able to do the giveaways. I'm so sorry. I just couldn't do it. Yeah, better diet. I mean, my diet is not bad. I'm telling you, I have a very limited amount of things that I can eat. But the kidney stone, I could feel it when I had the gout going on for those 6 weeks. I could feel the kidney stone moving around. And so sometimes I would get these sharp pains, and then sometimes it would last a little longer. And I told Anthony, I told Nellie, I told my brother, I told everybody, I said, dude, this is the next battle for me, because after this is done, or maybe while, this kidney stone is going to be coming. And it did. I still believe, and I really believe this is unnatural. I do. I believe this is something dark. There are people who are doing things. And you know who you are. And I'm not even going to give you the courtesy because you want me to say your name. That's what you want. And then you're going to laugh and think it's cute. But let me tell you something. For every ounce of pain that I suffer, that's your eternity right there. Because I've had about a dozen people now tell me, wait, this is what's going on. because this is not normal. Even my doctor was like, this is weird. You have it in one spot, and then a week later, exactly, you have it in another spot. Then a week later, exactly, you have it in another spot. He goes, it doesn't do that. It doesn't go 7 days and then you get it, and 7 days and you get it, and 7 days and you get it, and 7 days and that's what happened. That's literally what happened. It was every Monday after the show, I would get it in another spot. And now I got a kidney stone, and it was the pain has been, I'm not going to say unbearable, because I bear it. I bared it, or whatever. How do you say it? I bore it. Last night was bad, but it's going to be much worse for you, because you think that you're going to get away with this crap, and you may get away with it in this life. But I promise you, you're going to get yours, and you're going to be very, very sorry when it happens. Wailing and gnashing of teeth. I promise you. And I actually feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you guys and gals, the ones that are doing this, because when that happens, nothing is going to save you. You have your opportunity now to stop, give up all this nonsense, and to follow Christ. You have that ability right now, but you're choosing warfare, a spiritual warfare that you're not going to win. Even if you kill me, which I think is your ultimate goal, it doesn't matter. You're still going to lose. This is not a fight that any of us are going to win. I guess, yeah, if I were to die and I'd be, whatever, I could say, well, I lost or I won or whatever. You could claim victory any way you want. There is no winner in this. Just losers. So what's going to happen? You're going to be treated with a heavy dose of karma. And when you die, you're going to be in big, big trouble. Because these people are very short-sighted. A lot of them don't believe that anything could ever happen. They don't believe it. And it's really scary. It's a scary thing. I see somebody just became a member. Folks, become a member, because it's $5 a month. It's very little money. And you guys, because you became a member, and it's something that YouTube made, the membership thing. And we were like, what is this? And so we felt obligated to do something for the members, but we don't put anything behind a paywall. So we refused to put anything behind a paywall. So we had to do something for you members. So what we did was we decided to do a giveaway every week. So we're going to do another giveaway this week. So Dan A., thank you for becoming a member. Spill and Tea, thank you for gifting those memberships. So anyway, it's $5, and you enter into the giveaway, and it helps us with the show. All right, so we're up 277 here. It's funny, somebody decided that they would be cute in one of the groups that I'm in. And somebody had said, hey, it's Josh Turner or whatever, and they were being nice in the group or whatever. And I wasn't like, I'm kind of a big deal. I mean, I'm just a guy. I don't have I'm not the biggest show out there, but at least I'm not buying my subs like most of YouTube. I'm serious. Most of these people with these huge numbers, they're buying them. Those aren't real. They're not. Everything about them is fake. The numbers are fake. Their views are fake. Their likes are fake. You can buy all of that. Go to Social Blade. Somebody said to me, well, all these people are doing the fake, whatever. And I looked and I said, well, some of them you can tell they weren't, but they show it in numbers of hundreds. So this person said, how could they all be in hundreds? That's just how Social Blade show. But you got to look at the graph, the up and down, unless there is a way to explain a huge spike, like maybe you'd like the conference maybe, or something, like you did something, you wrote a book. I don't know. But these people, they'll have like every month or so they'll have this big, huge, couple of months go by, and then they have this big dump of subs. Where are you getting that from? I'll tell you where they're getting it from. They're buying them because I got solicited many times to buy them, and I believe that most of these people are doing that. So it makes it look like there are all these big channels out there, but then they do a live stream and they get 100 people. So this one dummy, he posted on there. He goes, "Yeah, your live stream's real big," and he posted like 176 people on there for one of our live streams, and I was like, "Wow, look at the time mark on there." That was like 20 minutes in, dude. What are you talking about? It was the beginning of the show. Same episode, you go and it was like, here's the final tally. It was 656, something like that. And I said, and he goes, "Oh, and then it became, well, anybody can go and buy their people to chat, whatever." I said, "Dude, get out of here. You're just a hater, and you're mad because you like a person who is a lying fraud." I'm not even going to say their name because that's what they want, is for you to say their name. So that's what they're doing. And then they make up the wildest bull crap you could ever imagine. About the woe is me, why they're being messed up and why their channel sucks. And the channel sucks because you're a phony. You're a fraud. Exactly, Paul. Jabronis. Oh boy. Okay, so we got 316. Let's get started here. I'm excited about this one because I had a conversation with this guy, and it was a few weeks ago, and it was not a real long one, but I managed to get in a conversation last week, and it was very fruitful. And I was impressed with what he had to say. I didn't talk to him a few weeks. I talked to his brother. So what happened was I was talking to Robbie from Hernandez Ranch. He doesn't live there anymore. And he had something happen, which was really weird. His girlfriend, her dad, which is crazy, he was camping up in Utah. And he had an encounter with a Bigfoot that literally stuck its head in his tent. So that was a creepy story. He gave me that story. And so his father-in-law, but the woman he's with now, they're dating, they're not married. So it wouldn't be his father-in-law, but they're engaged because he went through a breakup, whatever, with his wife. So this person that he's dating, he's like, dude, and he's got a story to tell you. So I got his story, and so he mentioned in passing that his brother had mentioned in passing that Jerry wanted to talk to me. And I said, well, okay. So I messaged him, and he's a very busy guy. He's very, very, very busy, like I am. And he has been solicited by another person who's a fan of another show. I don't know what show. Nobody told me. And he declined to tell his story. I appreciate that, but I mean, and it's not, I wasn't hating and telling him not to. I didn't tell him anything. And I think it really is not about him being loyal to us. I mean, he's a friend. I mean, I think it's just time. The guy, he runs a huge business. I mean, he's got like a bunch of clients now. And thank you for the donation, Joe. But you don't have a lot of time. I mean, you got things to do. We did not get to put the show out that we had recorded this week, and that was because Anthony didn't have time. Our job has been just, I mean, it's been a lot of just work. It's just work, it's hard and more work, but less money. That's the thing that really sucks, is that I can't even see. Look at that. You can see how deformed it looks. See the elbow? Look at that. Imagine if that was my normal elbow. Whew. Do an elbow on somebody with that crazy looking elbow. There's gout, dude. It's really bad. Not fun. Oh man. So what he told me, he says, I got a guy who I used to work with who's working at some almost started to say that sometimes it's hard to not. The guy worked at a site where one of the people that we work with periodically had done security for him. And I remember this guy, and I said, dude, I worked with that dude over there. And it's been a few years. And he said, yeah. He goes, he's got some stuff to tell, some stories. And so where he lived was not at the Hernandez Ranch, but it was not far away. I would say 18 miles was, I think, was what I was told. You know, not quite 20 miles. It's. I think I looked it up. I know I did, but I'm so tired I can't remember what it said. It was like 18 something, between 18 and 19 miles, which is where he lived, and that's nothing. I mean, that's absolutely nothing uh, for one of these beings or whatever they are, whatever the hell these demons are that travel around and do what they do. But it's interesting because I had talked to a guy, and I've said this on the show before, and I don't have the notes in front of me for that because I'm not going to get into a long whatever dissertation on that. But that guy, he had an uncle who he swore up and down was a shapeshifter. And this one guy, he'd go to his uncle's house, and he would go into the garage where he would be working out. And he said he would see him partially shift into some sort of thing. He couldn't really say what it was, but I mean, when the guy describes it, it sounds like a werewolf. And so for years he would see that and he didn't know what it was. And then one day he saw him point blank, like changing. Like you could see it wasn't no long drawn out thing. It happens very quickly. It's not like it is in the movies, but it was a shapeshifter. And he said that, he goes, my uncle's not an alien. He's like, he's my uncle. He's been my uncle my whole life, but he did his whatever he did to become that. So that area is not far from where this guy was working. He was doing a house, building some stuff. They do sheetrock. They're sheetrock workers. And so where he was at could have played a part in it. It could have played a hand in what he saw. I'm going to say his encounter wasn't by accident. And so we'll get into what it was that he saw and what he was. Oh my God. Mm. Folks, just bear with me. I got a pain in my arm and in my side. The stone moves, and it right now the stone is not the problem. It's the arm, and then sometimes the stone will move and go to the front. Don't know how I'm going to pass that. I don't know if hopefully the stuff that I got that my wife got will work. That's all I can say. But okay, so he was on a job site near that particular town. Now, this person, he lives outside of New Braunfels. So he does a lot of work in that area. And so, yeah, Chanza Piedra, yeah, you'd love to see off there. But yeah, that's definitely something that helps. I'm taking it with that stonebreaker. It's got several ingredients, but it caused the gout flare up. Oh, so he was working at a job site, and this one of the workers had told him that they saw something very weird. What looked like a large wolf come onto the job site and go into one of the trash bins. Now, they're not these giant metal trash bins. They have those there too, the big tall ones, but that's not what that was. What they are these makeshift ones that they use for trash with this plywood. And they'll make them in front of like different houses or an apartment complex, wherever they're at. They'll make them in front of different buildings. And each building or structure will have one of these. right? And they can go and they can throw the trash in there, and then they'll. So they saw this thing like digging around inside of one of these trash bins, and it looked like a large black wolf. But the difference between that and a normal wolf was that this thing could stand on its hind legs. The first time they saw it, it did not do that. It was just on its four legs, whatever, and it was running through the site. Not running, but kind of trotting through the site. And this guy's name was Luis, okay? And he had a brother they called Cece. And now we're going to get into him in a minute. He's the one that really got me a lot of information. He was a treasure trove of information. But this is what happened to Luis. And this was a recommendation from Jerry. He said, call this guy. Here's his number. Took me a little while to get a hold of the guy because people that work all the time, they're busy. And when they're not working, they're tired. I understand, believe me. So he's on a job site and he goes, and I'm working late. And it had rained. He goes, and he's like, this wasn't a long time ago, but it wasn't really recent. This was in 2015. And so he snapped some photos of what he believed were the footprints. But he lost that phone when he bought another phone, whatever. He had to get another phone because that phone he lost it, but you don't have he didn't have the cloud. What is it? Apple?
Yeah, the iCloud.
Yeah, he has whatever. So he doesn't have those footprints. And I said, damn, that's a shame because then we could have posted them on the show. But then everybody's going to go, oh, they're fake. Well, he said they were just giant wolf footprints, giant wolf prints.
Yeah.
So he had a chapstick that he had set down next to it. Now, the guys from Hernandez Ranch saw this. They saw the footprints. And he used the chapstick as a reference. You know, he's out there on the job site. He's just like, look. And so he measured them, and he goes, they were 7 inches. Huge.
Dang.
Footprints. And so he says, dude, I don't have that phone anymore. You know, that's 9-10 years ago, whatever. And so understandable. I get it. But it wouldn't have mattered much because people are going to say whatever they're going to say. We get pictures all the time, but we don't post them. And we don't, because there's too much. People are going to say you're fake. That's all they do. And then it starts arguments. I see it in these groups all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It gets to the point where I don't even want to go in those groups anymore because all they do is fight and talk crap on each other. You know, and I used to browse through those groups quite a bit to get people who had stories. I just don't do it as much anymore. Thank God now we have a name. People just come to us. We don't have to go out hunting, running around, chasing people down, you know. Thank you, Adam, for that donation. We appreciate it. So what ends up happening with this guy, he says, dude, I took pictures. It was muddy and it rained. But about a month goes by from the first time that he had heard about this, and there was nothing at all. And then he goes, one day I'm in there and we're laying sheetrock inside of one of the houses. And he's like, and then he goes, it's almost dusk. It was spring, you know. And he's like, I look out the window and I see this thing just walking. Like it stood up like a bear.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was like a bear. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back, folks. I gotta get this light out of my face. Hang on.
I got it.
I can move it. Oh. God. Pain. So he said it was it was bear-like,
Mm-hmm.
but it had pointy ears like a wolf. So it was like if you took according to him, when he saw it, because he was like, he was not told like exactly what it looked like because there's a language barrier there. Now he speaks Spanish. He's Hispanic. He's actually it's a funny thing I told you about him. They're Italian.
Yeah.
But their family is from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Because their last name is Tianti. And so I probably shouldn't have said that, but I mean, he didn't tell me not to, so whatever. But Tianti is their last name. And so he, and the way it's spelled is kind of weird, you know. I mean, it looks, I don't know, I didn't know, you know. But originally they're from Italy. And they have his mother's maiden name was kind of a strange name. But I was listening to this guy, and I said, where are you from? He's like, we're originally from Mexico, but my family's, they're Italian. And so he told me, he says, he goes, these people, the Mexican people that work there, they didn't tell me the full description. They just said a wolf got up on its hind legs. They didn't tell him that it was this bear-like, thing. And so here we go again with the whole bear, looking creature. He said if you took a humongous wolf head and put it on top of a humongous wolf-like body or bear-like body,
Mm-hmm.
he goes, but then the arms were kind of like a man's, He said that's what it was. And he said this thing was just walking. And he said that he went and told his friends, like, he's like, the guys he was working with, I guess they were his workers, not his friends, but one of them is his friend, his good friend that runs the business with him. And he says, hey, check this out. This guy's name is David. And he told David, come here, look at this right there. And he goes, when he got up to the window, the thing was gone. He goes, so they went outside and it was still daylight.
Mm-hmm.
This was in daylight. And he looks across the way and he sees another crew working on they're doing the slabbing. For the houses that are coming in.
Yeah.
And he goes across the street and he says, hey, did y'all see this weird animal looking thing? He didn't want to say werewolf, werebear, whatever.
Yeah.
He didn't want to sound like a crazy person. So he tells them, did you see this weird animal looking thing? And they were like, no. And then one of them was outside, standing there. So he goes, I started feeling like I was losing my mind. Like, what in the hell did I just see? He goes, dude, it was nuts. I saw it. The people across, well, not really across the street, but they were kind of like down the street, but they were outside. He goes, they were pouring the concrete. They should have seen it. Like, why didn't they see it?
Yeah.
I mean, this thing was walking around in broad daylight. So one day he goes up there and he was real bad about leaving his phone. That's probably why he doesn't have the pictures, but he left his phone up there. And he says, I get halfway home. He goes, I live way out in the country.
Oh man.
And he goes, and he goes, so I'm like, man, he goes, and I had to, he goes, and my wife was always jumping my ass about leaving my phone. But he says, I had to turn around. Now, he doesn't live in New Braunfels. His brother does. He lives in San Marcos or outside of San Marcos.
Yeah.
So it was a little further afield. So he goes, I turned around and went back. I was about 9-10 miles down the road. He goes, and the site was locked up. No security guard. And so he says there was no guard or anything. And he says, I go back onto the property. There's this big fence, but it was really dumb the way they did it though, because they only fenced in the part where you could drive in.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go and steal copper, you could still go and walk through there, which they did, which is what happens when you don't have security. And so he went into he had to stop and he couldn't get the lock. He didn't know the combination, whatever. So he had to walk all the way around. And he said it's a good walk. It's like 30 yards, 40 yards just to go around one side of it from the middle. And he goes, and then I walked all the way around and I had to walk way up in there to go, 3 or 4 streets, like 2 blocks, And he says, and I get up to the house. He's like, and I hear this, and it was dark at this point. He goes, I hear this growling. Very, very, and he said it was like it was right there by him. Like he was looking around every which way. And he's like, I hear this. And then I hear what sounds like, how when an animal runs on dirt?
Yeah. Like
something's running, scurrying. But he said it was so large, whatever it was, he could feel it on the ground. So it was like a buffalo.
Dang.
He said one time he took his kids to a national park, and there were these bison there. And they started running, and he goes, you could feel the ground. They were behind a fence, but you could feel it. Mm-hmm. And he said it was like that. Or like when a bull runs,
Yeah.
I felt that before as a kid, huh? He didn't see anything. But he goes back into the house, and he had to go in through the window because the front door was locked. Because he had told his guys, lock up the house. We're not, So they're responsible for the houses that they're working on, because if something goes missing, they'll be like, don't blame them. And a lot of times it is an inside job. I know from experience. These people, they'll have people who work for them, and they're not necessarily the bad guy, but they're people who steal anything. And so he had to go through the window. So he starts going walking around the house with the flashlight. He goes and he looks, and there, right there on the counter, is his phone. So he grabs it and he's like, "Good, I got it. I don't get to hear my wife complain." Not the words he used, but he said he would have to hear it. So he had to stop and get some food. And he was like, "I had to get some chicken wings because she wanted something for the kids," and blah, blah, blah. So he's being a good dad, a good husband, whatever. So he goes out the window. He goes, "I get one leg out, and I see this thing standing across the street, standing there." He's like, and there it was. It was like that wolf-like, bear-like entity. He didn't call it entity. He said thing. I'm saying entity because that's what I believe it was. And he goes, and it had red eyes. I didn't notice those in the daytime, he told me. He says, I noticed that night. He goes, and I'm looking at it, and he goes, and I literally am like a thief getting caught. I'm like, I got my leg out, He goes, I immediately pull my leg back in.
Yeah.
It's like you see a shark, and you're getting out into the water. Not his words, mine. But like, let's say that, you're getting out. Oh, I can make it. You see a great white swimming by. You're like, oh, maybe not. I'm going to get my leg back in.
Yeah, on second thought.
And he goes, and then he goes, I realized, like, I had my firearm on me. And he goes, I realized, though, that there's only one mag in there. And he goes, and it's not fully loaded. Because he had shot at a coyote on the way. This is country people, folks in Texas, okay? Don't judge. But he goes, I was driving home not 2 nights before, and he goes, I saw a coyote, and I decided to take a shot at it because, this guy, like a lot of people, has some livestock, and, you don't want them. Those are pests. Coyotes will kill your cats, your dogs, your chickens. They will harass your cows. They're horrible. I don't like coyotes, and I don't like pigs. I like my pig, Truffles. But if you don't belong to me, I don't want you around. I love animals, though. Don't get me wrong. But those are nuisance animals. I saw a deer the other day walking with his leg. Just, and it was a divot from a hog that did it. That poor thing. He ain't going to make it through the winter. He's done. I mean, thanks, pigs. But so he goes, he took a shot. He goes, I shot about 4 or 5 rounds. I was like, and I didn't even think. He's like, I was being a whistle, and I didn't reload. He goes, so I'm looking, and I got like 9 shots in here. And he's like, it's a Glock. What's it going to do to that?
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm standing there looking out the window, and it's dark, and I'm hoping that it didn't see me. But he goes, but it was standing there. He goes, and head was kind of moving back and forth, kind of like how a bear moves, like it was observing me. He's like, and then it kind of looked around like it heard a noise. He goes, and I looked too, because I did hear something. And so he goes, and then this thing decided to go down on all fours and start going toward whatever that noise was. So maybe it heard a possum or something. I don't know. He goes, I heard something like, I don't know, moving around. Raccoon maybe. And he's like, and so he goes, I got my ass out the back door. He goes, and I kept looking back, thinking, this thing's going to pop up. He's like, I waited for a little while. He goes, but I'm like a sitting duck. He goes, I'm in this house that's, it's not going to protect me. There's nothing,
Yeah.
So he got out of there and he got back to the fence, and he was so freaked out that he jumped the fence. He tried to, but he's, those fences, they're not dug down into nothing.
Yeah, you could fall.
So the fence just started to collapse, and then he jumped off of it and he hurt his knee. And so he ran and got into his truck, and he took off. Got into his Dodge Ram Tough. No, I don't even know what kind of truck he had, but he got into his truck and he took off. And then he calls his wife, and he's like, hey, I'm just now leaving the site. He lied. So the next day, and his wife's kind of psychic. She has like this, I don't know. She had a dream that there was a creature out there that was stalking him, and she could see it. And so Luis told me, he's like, dude, it was so bizarre. He goes, I wake up a couple days later. It was a couple days later. He's like, it was Saturday morning, and I was going to have to go in for 4 or 5 hours. Not a lot. I said, look, I'm going to go work 4 hours. I'll come back. And his wife says, look, listen. She's like, you need to be really careful. There's something out there. He had not told her all this stuff because she's a worrier. Right? Mm-hmm. And he said, what's even weirder is at the time of all this, they were living in a house that he believes was haunted. He believes it was. The people that had lived there before, there was a guy who had gotten into a fight with his wife, and she got ran behind the vehicle, and their son tried to get her to stop hitting the car, whatever. And the guy just backed up and hit both of them and ended up killing his son.
Oh.
So, and it happened in their driveway. And he goes, dude, I'm going to tell you right now. He goes, I saw a spirit that looked like a young guy, like in his teens, walking by the house. He said, and my children had seen it, but there was some stuff happening that was going on, like his wife was having weird dreams and stuff. So when she had this dream about this creature, he was not shocked or surprised, but he was surprised that she dreamed about what he'd seen. So he goes, I stopped, and he's like, look, you know, I'm always early to work. He's like, but I can be a little bit late. You know, I'm the boss over there. You know, it's foreman, whatever. So he tells her, he says, let's make some waffles. Let's talk. And so they go and they sit down or whatever. And by make waffles, he means she made the waffles and he ate them.
Yeah. Team effort.
Yeah. That kind of stuff. Yeah. He's like, look, I'm the man. Make waffles and tell me about this. And I want blueberries in them. All right. Oh, you don't have them? Well, I suggest you go to HEB and pick some up. And the clock is ticking. I got to go to work. No, I didn't. None of that happened, folks. If it did, I'm like, that's really messed up. But no, he's probably, if he's listening, well, he's not going to listen tonight. He's going to listen tomorrow. He's got things to do, which is called watch football. But anyway, he said, you know, it was, you know, pretty to the point conversation. She sat down and she's like, there's something that's stalking that site. He told him the exact description of what he had seen. When he asked her what she thought it was, she says, I don't know. So a couple nights go by, and it was like that was Saturday morning. So it was like Monday morning. He had to go back to work on Monday, whatever. And he said he wakes up early like always. And she told him she'd had another dream. She saw what looked like a native person in a cave. Get this. This is really weird. In a cave, who was drawing on the walls, and there were these three natives by the front of it, and they were holding rifles, and they were looking out of the cave like they were terrified. They were scared of something. And this guy was doing some sort of incantation, and he was rocking back and forth, and she was standing there, and he came up to her and pointed at the wall, at the cave wall, and she saw him standing there, but then she saw him sitting. So she put two and two together and figured out that was him standing there was his spirit out of his body. Mm-hmm. And she asked him what this was, and he spoke in some weird language that she didn't physically understand, but she understood it, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the meaning.
Yeah. And he pointed at this drawing of this monster that just looked like a four-legged beast, you know? And she goes, and just then she goes, I hear this weird howl. She's like, and then the guys at the front of the cave started firing into the darkness, and then they all started yelling, and she heard people in the back kind of crying. She looked and she saw like women and children huddled together, you know. So she told him, she's like, I don't know. I think it's some sort of monster that maybe had been around for a long time that was stalking these natives. And they put something, she thinks. This is what she now thinks. Mm-hmm. At the time, she didn't really know. But what she said, while I was on the phone with him, I had him on speaker, she was in the background, and she said, I think that they made like what they call a cairn. Like they put something there to keep this thing, like trap it.
Yeah.
Right? Now I asked her, was it flesh and blood or was it a spirit? And she said both. Very interesting. And she said that she thinks that it might have been physical at one time. And it may have been a type of shapeshifter or something. We were kicking ideas around. Could it be? But then it died maybe. And then they killed it eventually or something, you know. And so it was a spirit because this thing is in between, it's metaphysical. So it manifests as a physical thing. And so then they closed it off, right? And then when they started digging, they released it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I think now, because this is what she said. But I mean, and I'm a big believer that you don't want to lead people and give them, don't say it first.
Yeah.
And if you've talked to me, I'll let you tell me what you think. And then if you give me enough information, I'm going to tell you what I think. But I think what it is some sort of, and I know this word is overused, but it is one of the Nephilim type creatures, or one of their descendants, or a human that was entering into an agreement with one of them, doing something with the other, as they call it, There's a lot of possibilities of what this could be. One thing I don't believe is just it's purely physical, because this thing was doing things. It just seemed like weird. Now, oftentimes with ghosts, okay, they can physically mess with you. I got a story from a guy up in Ohio that was living right next to the Amish. I think I told you about this. We were at Pages, Richard and Pages.
Mm-hmm.
That's our cousins. And the guy was, he saw this girl that would walk through his house. I mean, it's a creepy story. And then one day it interacted with him physically, grabbing him, doing something to him. Because he acknowledged it and interfered with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't a passive, or as they call, a residual haunting. I think it was something that was very cognizant. And I think it was probably trying to get him to interact. Yes, Howard, you're right. Fairies are also connected with Karns sometimes. And who knows, because we've had a story about the fairy looking, well, not a fairy. It was like a goblin little thing that was maybe pretending to be one of these. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, My Little Companion. I know what that is, Amber. Yeah, for sure. That's a book. They carry it around. The ones that practice, and a lot of the Amish do practice dark arts. Believe me, make no mistake, they do.
They call it powwow, don't they?
Powwow is the one that's not as bad.
Okay.
But it's all not, you shouldn't mess with any of it. So, long story short, let's get back on track here, what we were talking about. He well, I don't know why I said long story short. This is a long story long. The hell are you talking about? Long story short.
Long story normal.
So he's dealing with this, whatever this is, this entity, and so this is Luis. This is the guy that I was told to talk to, whatever. And yeah, if you can get me an Amish person that'll talk about it. It's buffered. Yeah. So what are we to make of this being, right? He jumps the fence, he goes home, he gets home, and then his wife tells him all this, what he thinks. He says, this is crazy, and so when he talked to Jerry, he's like, I'd worked with Jerry for 4 years and never heard any of this, but he had told me. He goes, so one day we got around to talking, and he goes, and I believe it was, probably a little bit after, or maybe, around the time he talked to you. He goes, because they were standing around talking about it in the morning one morning. And he goes, and I was like, hey, I've dealt with something like that. It was on one of our job sites at a tract housing place, And so he said that what he thought was probably the correct answer, So she took him to a curandera. And in Spanish, that's like a medicine person who's,
Mm-hmm.
Curandera, actually, what they do, I say curandera. I don't want to say cool because culera.
Yeah.
So a curandera, and the curandera tells him, like, look, you're going to need to wear this, whatever, his little talisman he had. So he stuck it in his pocket. And then he goes, after that, I saw it 3 more times. He's like, I don't think this thing she gave me was helping ward anything off.
Yeah.
If anything, it was like a beacon whistling to this thing to come to me. He goes, one night it was, I'll give you the real quick one. He's like, he was getting in his truck. He goes, and I'm with one of my friends, Henry, this guy works for me. And I've actually met him before too. I've met Henry when we were working over in Del Valley. He was you probably remember him. He was a superintendent over there.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and this is back before he was. And he says, dude, we were going to get into the truck. And he goes, we hear this like growl, kind of a low, and there was like this buzzing hum noise that we couldn't explain. We're like, what is that? We're looking around, we're looking under the truck, whatever. He goes, it's been a couple of weeks since this incident had happened with the phone. And he looks over to his left and he points and he's like, mira, and right there is this creature sticking its head around the corner. And it, like when they shine the light, it moves back. But it was tall like a man. I said, how tall? He's probably about 8 feet tall. And he goes, I know measurements. I work with sheetrock all the time. And he said, this thing was very tall. So he says, Henry and him are sitting there looking at this thing, and Henry's like, oh my gosh, because he can't stop, with the OMG,
Yeah.
I don't like taking God's name in vain, but he just kept doing that. And he was just like, what is this? What is this thing we're looking at? And he goes, I don't know. I've been seeing it off and on for, a little while. And I've had some of the workers, that are seeing it. And Henry, as far as he knows, he was the first American worker, just to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's Mexican American, but he's from here. And he was just like, what is that? And they just kept, so he started wanting to walk toward it. And he's like, I'm not walking over there. I'm not going over there. That thing, there's something going on. If we go over there, he goes, I felt like we would die. And so I told him, I said, if you go over there, I'm not going with you. So he got about halfway between there and the truck. And then he hears this, what he said sounded like a roar.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was like a wolf and a bear mixed with a lion. And it was just obnoxiously loud. And he said he backed up and he just took off running. Henry's a little fat, little heavy guy,
Yeah.
So he's a short, little fat guy. I know him. I mean, he's, so he took off running. He never told me this story. I didn't know this had happened. He took off running toward the truck and he goes, dude, he slipped on some mud, twisted his ankle, couldn't work the next day. He's one of the site supervisors, but he was an assistant at that time. And his vehicle was in the shop, so he's getting him a ride because he lived in San Marcos. So Henry gets in and he helps him into the truck, right? He's like, and then as we're pulling away, he goes, we almost hit something that we didn't even see what it was. It was just like a blackish brown streak that ran out in front of their truck. What was weird though was like it didn't come from okay, here would be the direction that I'm pointing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the beast was, right? But this blackish brown streak came from that way, going that way.
There was more than one, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. But he said then something came from the other direction and it ran and it was huge. He goes, and then Henry was like, dude, my ankle's broken. He thought it was broken. Turned out he sprained it. It wasn't So he goes, I take him to the emergency room and I'm sitting there and I called my wife and I told her, I said, look, I'm with Henry. I'm at the emergency room because this dude slipped and fell. And he goes, we saw that thing again. And she was really adamant. She's like, something is going to happen if you don't stop going over there. Well, one of the workers had a dog named Mojo that would go to, this was also an American who did not believe in the stories. They were in the construction trailer one day and they were talking. And he was giving them an update on the report, basically on what his progress was. And this guy was a site supervisor, one of them. And he said that he had a dog named Mojo. And that dog was a pit mix. Very friendly dog, very sweet dog. It didn't cause any problems. He's like, but he would let him roam around the site and the workers would feed him tacos and, they'd pet him. He was like the little mascot. And then one day, Mojo was running around the back and they hear this, get! And then they hear this noise. And then they they were sitting in the trailer. This is what he was told. Now, he didn't witness this, but what he was told was that the guy that was in charge, I can't remember his name. It's like Tobias. That's not right. It starts with a T. But anyway, the guy's an unusual name. But anyway, he went out of the trailer and went outside, and he went looking for his dog. And for 2 days, the dog was gone. It was missing. So this guy decided that he was, going to ask more about this beast that they had been seeing around the job site. And so he asked him, he said, what did it look like? And they started telling him whatever. He goes, because he came up there. He was up there night and day. He came up there with one of his stepsons and the stepson's friend. And he said, we were up there, and we were walking around that site with guns. And he goes, and my stepson's friend, Freddie, saw what he thought looked like a black bear-like creature hiding behind one of the big bins, one of the big trash bins, the big metal ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he said he looked and he was like, there's something hiding behind there. So he tossed a rock and this thing roared. And then he goes, we were on the other side of the place, the other side of the tracks. And we heard it. That's a big site, Now, probably I've been through that area multiple times. I went through there probably 2 or 3 years ago. And we were just driving back from Devil's Backbone. And had not heard these stories. Interesting thing, though. There was a guy named Kyle. I don't know if you remember him. He used to work at what was it called? Brackenridge.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Kyle? I think you remember him.
I think so.
Tall, skinny kid, big ears.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I go back into the archives and I find a story that he had told me, and this is where we actually had met Jerry years ago. We knew Jerry, but when he told me the stories. And this guy told me a crazy story because he lived about 2 miles from that subdivision that was built. And he had so I saw this story. He says he saw a giant bear-like creature run across the road with a coyote in its mouth. Obviously, the coyote was unalived.
Mm-hmm.
But he said that the coyote looked like a kitten. It was so small. It was like this. It was just, like if you had a mustache, like you like the size of compared to your face, your mustache.
Like a Wilford Brimley mustache.
Yeah. He said it was crazy. This animal was limp. He said, and it was a large coyote, and this thing was humongous. And he saw it run across the road. And that's the story he gave me and my brother when we were working over there. I think he might have told, I'm pretty sure he told Tony that story too. In fact, I know he did. But Tony heard that one too. Now, I mean, it's just a quick little thing. It's not like some long drawn out thing, but it adds credence to what this guy, Luis, was saying. You wonder what Luis and these guys were seeing, I mean, so he talked to a guy. There was a guy named Pedro that used to work up there too. And he saw his truck literally lift off the ground a few inches and fall back down. And he sees this coyote like run out from underneath the truck, and there was this big thing that swiped its arm like that out underneath it. And he goes, holy crap. So he literally falls backwards. And it was like late summer. They were almost done with the project. It was the last few houses. So he goes, he worked with him on another project. I can't remember the name of I know the place. It's something Springs. And we worked one of those. I keep wanting to say Laterra, but I know that's not. You need something you got. Something Laterra, something Springs, something we worked. I remember, but anyways, we worked one. We did security, and I remember this guy, and I remember Pedro. He was a roofer. He's one of the roof people, and so he saw this thing lift up his truck. So on the next project, he went to with what's his name with Luis's crew. He told him, he goes, dude, I thought the stories were bullshit.
Yeah.
He's like, but I saw this thing. He goes, and I saw this arm, like clawed arm, swipe at this coyote. And then he said that I just see, this is weird. He goes, the thing that came out from underneath my truck, and he goes, and he was with two of the other guys from Mexico. They were standing right there with him. But this guy, he was Mexican from Mexico, but he spoke really good English, been there for like 27 years. So he was, he had his own crew. They lay roofs on houses. So this guy was laying on the ground. His friends help him up, and they see this thing underneath the vehicle. And it goes, what came out from underneath the vehicle just looked like a skinny, black, shaggy German Shepherd. And it looked both ways and then ran off into the woods. Totally defying what he witnessed with his own eyes, which was a creature pull its hand, move, swiping at this thing, at this coyote. And he's like, I know what I saw. He's like, and that's not that. What that dog didn't do that. I don't know what that was. And so everybody was like, "Oh, you saw a skinny German Shepherd chasing a coyote." No, that's not what he saw. Because he said, "Why didn't it just chase out after him under the truck?" He believes that because what he saw looked like an amorphous blob of black underneath the truck. He couldn't, because it was almost dark. He couldn't make out what it was.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it was like 8:30 at night. It was almost dark. Summertime. And he goes, and I see this thing underneath the truck. When it swipes at this coyote, it just, there was something black underneath there. But then he thinks it turned into that dog and trying to look like it was, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ran into the woods. That's not what it was. So you have all of this stuff going on at that site. Now, you got to remember also where this is at. Not far away is where the guy claimed that his uncle was a werewolf. Interesting about that guy. Okay, we've interviewed this dude. He declined to come on the show. And in fact, and Anthony can attest to this, he didn't want us telling the story for a long time. It was weird.
Yeah.
Like, why would you be, because you're a little dickhead. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. This guy's probably listening right now. I'm joking.
No,
don't send your uncle after me. I'm kidding. I'm joking. You know that. Don't say that. They're gonna think I'm being a jerk. He told us this, so he tells me and Tony like this amazing story, Anthony, whatever. And then we're like, oh, cool, dude. We're gonna put that on. You come on the show. And the guy's like, yeah. And then the next day, nah, I don't want to come on the show. And I'm like, well, I have no problem telling it. I can tell the story. That's what I do. And he's like, nah, I don't think you should tell it. So I got kind of pissed off. So we kind of didn't communicate for a while because I was just like, why would you waste my time telling me this amazing thing? Because you're a butthole. I'm joking. It was being a butthole all the time. I've said that to him. I said, yeah, I thought you were just being a butthole. He's got his reasons though. And I'll tell you why. The reasons are because he was terrified of his uncle. He was absolutely terrified of this guy. He watched him turn into a fucking werewolf. Excuse my language. Seriously, excuse my language. I'm sorry for that. But he did. I mean, I'm pretty sure that, that I would look at my uncle, pick one, Tino, Jaime, Butch. If they turned into a werewolf in front of me, I think I'd look at them a little differently. Probably not going to go on someone's show and blab about it either because... well, that's just bad for me. What a shapeshifter does in their own garage is their own business.
Yeah, we support shapeshifter rights.
Yeah. Until they start going out into the woods and devouring
and
shit.
Pushing it on kids.
And pushing it on everybody. They have parades.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of YMCA, it's like, WCA, werewolves. Oh, yeah. So, what are we to make of this? Like, do you sit here and go, okay, we figured it out. It's whatever. But then you have this guy who's doing what he's doing, and that's not far away. As the crow flies, it's really close. So then I asked this guy back when we were talking to him, we had an in-depth conversation. And And I've since lost touch with him. And I mean, I think the statutes of limitations of not saying anything have expired because I don't know where the heck the guy is. I haven't talked to him. He hadn't been in the chat in a while. And so I just said, you know what, dude, I'm going to tell this story. Okay. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do that on an hour-long show. And we're going to connect it to this one here. And then we're going to get into Luis's brother. Weird thing about that. His brother Cece had a lot of activity happen at his property. But get this, he blames Luis. He does. Because he went, because he was coming home in his driveway. I don't want to have to, we'll probably be repeating this on the pre-record. But he was coming home, okay, and he sees this little like talisman, the little weird thing, whatever, with the weird arrows coming off of it. And he's like, what is that? And his kid got out and grabbed it and wanted to play with it because it was a little, obsidian looking thing. So he grabs it and he's like, what the heck? So he takes it in the house, not knowing what it is. And then all this weird stuff starts happening. And then he blames his brother because his brother had come over and they had been drinking. And his brother went out into the truck and was going to leave. So he wouldn't go back inside and sleep it off in there. And his wife had showed up a little bit later. It was a Easter celebration or whatever. And he goes, my brother got totally smashed. And he goes, and because, why not? Easter is when you get drunk, right? If you're, So he goes and gets drunk. It's not something I would do, and I'm not judging, but I'm just saying that's what he did. So his brother gets upset. Cece gets upset. And so his wife goes out there and takes keys. She had showed up about 2 hours after him because he was there to barbecue with his brother. So when Luis's wife that was having the dreams about it, she's kind of psychic, she showed up like a couple hours, like 2 or 3 hours, whatever. So she had her own vehicle and she told him, come on, let's go. He wanted to stay and drink some more. And so she went home and she was going to come back and get him, but she fell asleep because she had been up cooking, food all day that she had to bring over there. So she's like, he stayed there and drank. And so Cece this is Luis's brother, right? Cece's wife goes out there and takes keys from him. So he stays out in the truck and sleeps it off. And at some point, he must have gotten out, and that talisman ended up on the ground in their gravel driveway. And so he drives up, and he gets out, and he's walking, and he sees it. And his little son, saw it at the same time, ran over and picked it up, wanted to keep it, and he says, I don't know what this is. So then he realizes that's where his brother was, the day before. So he told him, he's like, hey, did you drop something over here? And his brother's like, nope. I don't know, like he doesn't even, and so by Luis's admission, he said it was probably on the floorboard of his truck and he just kicked it out when he got out to urinate. So it was not on purpose. It was just a haphazard thing,
Mm-hmm.
But Cece swears up and down that after this, he started getting visited by something. Now, ironically, this, thing that he was getting visited by was not the same creature. It did not look the same. But it was something. And it was a shapeshifter of some kind because at one point he watched this creature that looked like a werewolf from the head down to the waist, but the legs looked goat-like.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's a whole nother ball of wax we're going to get into. And so this makes sense why Jerry said, hey, talk to these people because, and so I think this whole corridor is just effed.
Yeah, that whole area.
Yeah. Who were we talking to the other day they were talking about Central Texas and the key guy.
Yeah.
His name is Zach Black.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Zach Black. And he made, and we've already lost that key.
I'll turn up somewhere.
I can't believe it. We had a key made and then we lost it. But anyway, he made a vehicle key for us. And he's gonna think we're irresponsible as hell. He just made it, But he was telling us, that since he had moved here from Hawaii, He's like, I don't know what it is. There's like, portals here, what going on, but there's a lot of weird stuff in Central Texas. And I told him, I said, yeah. A lot of people attribute it to limestone. Like I've heard that come up like over and over again, but I'm like, come on, man. I don't know if that's all. Could be anything.
Yeah.
But there is a large amount of it. Like I could spend hours just going from place to place to place. People have told me stories. I've hunted these stories down over the years, and you get them. And I guarantee I'll probably get some more from people who hear this. 86, no, not that key. It's not that one. That one still hasn't turned up. I don't know where it's at. But no, we had a truck key made, and we've already misplaced it somehow. I didn't. I don't know, but whoever had it. So I'm wondering, though, if this creature was, just a complete and total shape-shifting monster. But the interesting thing to me was the dream that his wife had, where she had saw these natives that were terrified in this little, like, short cave, huddled together. And it couldn't have been that long ago because they were holding Winchester. Right? She was convinced that it was probably it's interesting. KD7 says, Josh, movie about those alien things in the crater. Did they look like those? It's interesting. I mean, it's all, when you stop and you look at these, it's a lot of it is, I don't think it's all, but I think a lot of it is disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
It's soft disclosure. Antonio Vasquez says, will Trump release anything they know about Dogman and Sasquatch? I don't know. He had said something about Bigfoot. I don't know. Yes, please like and subscribe. But no, anyways, it's hard for me to move my arm. Yeah. J3, no, I have not seen the new werewolf movie. I have no idea. They always disappoint me.
Yeah, they don't ever do werewolves entertaining or right.
They always cheap out on the way they look.
They make them look stupid.
And then when they have the ability to make them look better, they make them look like crap. So, I don't know. I mean, what is your opinion on these things, the antics that went on up there?
I mean, it's really hard to say. And you said that they saw different ones, like like one of them was like it looked like a werewolf from the head to the waist, but the legs looked like a
That was
goat's
his
leg.
brother at his house.
Yeah, but I'm saying like overall, like
yeah, but I mean that could have been
that encounters with
talisman.
all these different things, right?
Well, that I my opinion on that.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's a good point. But my opinion on that is that that's from that talisman,
Uh-huh.
which is probably why when he had it at the job site, he saw it 3 times.
Yeah.
And then he lost the talisman, didn't know where it was at, probably on the floorboard of his truck.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kicked it out onto the driveway. I mean, Easter, whatever. But it was like the next year, Easter of the following year. They weren't even working there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When he had it in his truck, who knows how long. But he didn't see that thing again outside of the job site. So it was kind of bound to that area.
Yeah.
If I had to put like 100%, like, if I had to say, hey, 100% what I believe, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But if I had to tell you what I'm leaning towards, I would say that the talisman had something attached to it that was bringing. There's different avenues to take here. That talisman could have its own entity attached to it. and it could be something that is used to ward off the other demons, because demons are not only are they political and there's
territorial.
They're territorial. They don't play well.
Yeah.
You know, I've interviewed people who've had demonic obsession, possession, whatever, and they will end up in a place where another person is having stuff happening in their house, and a lot of bad things start happening because they're fighting. They're not friends. They're not all like, there's this weird misconception in Christianity that they all are in the same gang together, and there's just one leader at the very top, and they're all like this really, like, you know, they're like this,
like organized military.
Yeah, like elite fighting force, you know, bullshit. I don't agree with that. It's more like Lord of the Rings.
They're more like orcs, yeah, from Lord of the Rings,
where they're always snapping at each other, and they'll eat each other.
Yeah.
They don't care. And that is their weakness. Essentially, evil by itself, it eats itself. Have you ever seen these protests where they're protesting something and then the protesters start fighting one another because they're two different things going on? Yeah. They eat each other. So I think that what was going on is that is one possible conclusion that we could come to with Cece, with his deal. Bless you.
Thank you.
But I don't know if that's the 100% answer. I don't know, because I'm not, but if I had to say, it's either that or that talisman draws energy, something to it. So if you have something in the area, it could work as a beacon. So maybe that thing that he saw or that he was seeing, we're going to talk about that in the pre-record, was coming up to his house because of that talisman. The thing is, he wanted to give it back to his brother.
Yeah.
He wanted to take it and throw it far away, but he couldn't find it because his sons had messed with it and taken it and didn't know where it was at.
Oh, that's great.
So when you have two kids, one's 4 and one's 6, good luck asking them where things are. They'll give you some very colorful answers. It was in my ear, and then I ate it. What was in your ear? A cookie? Like, oh my God. My cousin's kids. You can't get a straight answer out of them kids. They I broke it. What? Your truck? What? I throw a rock. You go out there and it's somebody else's truck. You're like, oh, thank goodness. Go back inside. Somebody's truck got broken. I think it wasn't mine. Then you hear, you're like, oh no. The other one saw the older one do it, so now he threw it. You don't know. And he goes, dude, for all I know, it could have been flushed and down in the septic. And then it's just there permanently. So he had this problem, that he had to solve. And his brother was like, well, if you give it back to me, I'll, So he asked the curandera, lady. He tells her, he says, what do I need to do? And she's like, you need to get it back and bring it back to me. I'll reuse it. But she's like, unless, because if it's drawing something to you, she blamed them. She's like, it must be something that you've done. I said, what you did was go to a curandera. They're only good until they're not.
Yep.
100%. Now I'll say on this, we're talking about percentages. White witch, black witch, red witch, green witch, sand witch, it doesn't matter. Okay? When you piss them off, they go dark. I'm going to tell you that. I had a friend that was on Facebook the other day, and he was like, I'm having all kinds of problems. And I started talking to him. I said, what have you been doing lately? Well, he dated a girl who was throwing curses left and right at her sister. Then he pissed her off. And then she, quote unquote, went dark on him. Now, what that means is like she ghosted him because she was mad. And she's a little mentally unstable. First of all, you have to be to do that. But then she started saying, "Oh, were you talking to my sister?" He goes, "Her sister lives in Arizona. This is a personal friend of mine." And I said, "Dude, and you're wondering why stuff's happening to you, why your tire flew off while you were driving." And he's like, "Well, I don't believe in curses." And I said, "Well, whatever." I was like, "Do you feel like you're in danger?" And he goes, "No." And he goes, "Do you think I'm in danger?" And I was like, "I don't know." I said, "You might be." "You will be. You will." I became Yoda. "Cursed you are. Bitch, she is." She's like, "I'm a good witch." You ever watch Wizard of Oz and seen Glinda, the good witch, whatever? Take a close look at that whole movie and start to realize that if she's this powerful witch, then why didn't she just go and kick those other witches' asses herself? You know?
Yeah.
She needed a human to come there to use their essence and their ability. That's what I believe. To affect, what she wanted to do. What I mean is the fae, the fairies, whatever, all these different types of entities, creatures, whatever, the jinn, whatever you want to call them, they can only do so much. So they use people to do their bidding, to navigate through the physical world where they have some problems, because there is a veil there. Now they can penetrate it and pierce it, but they can't operate smoothly unless they have sort of a, And so when you stop and you look at the whole Wizard of Oz thing, and as a kid, I read the books. There's a bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of them, like 20 of them or something. I read like 5 or 10. My sister had them. One of my sisters, and I read them, and it was interesting stuff. But I think that the whole plot behind the Wizard of Oz is really, truly, she was like a fae from the other side. And she brought Wendy, I was going to call her Wendy, Dorothy there to kill the one witch that was living, with the humans, and then her sister take her out. Then she ends up taking the other power, the wizard, back to where he came from with her. And then who's left in charge there? Glinda. Because all of her rivals have been taken out. That's what the United States did with Iraq and Iran. We funded Iraq because they were Israel's chief rivals in the Middle East. And this isn't political, whether you are pro-Israeli or you're not, there's people that fight about it all the time. I don't care. What I'm talking about is what they did. To help Israel, they crippled. Iran was constantly threatening them and saying all kinds of crazy stuff. So they armed Saddam to kick their ass. It's no wonder that they won, because Khomeini, he was outgunned. Saddam was armed to the teeth by the CIA. After he kicked his ass, Khomeini's ass, then that crippled them for a good decade. And then we told them, "Well, do what you want. You're free to do whatever." "Oh, really? Okay, cool." So he runs into Kuwait.
Yeah.
Seizes the oil fields. Then we're like, "We will not allow this." Butch old ass up there, who did nothing but lie and play golf. "We will not allow this guy to get away with this bullshit that we told him he could do." But me and Kissinger, possibly two of the evilest people that have ever lived, and the most full of shit liars ever. The Kissinger's over there with horns coming off of his head.
Yeah.
He's like, oh shit, get back in there. Evil bastard. Bush walks away from the podium, and there's like sulfur. Podium's on fire. Like, oh my God, what the hell's going on? Clinton's in there like, "I applaud this guy. He's taught me everything I know about whether it's bringing in cocaine or hits with Hillary, whatever." Stupid asses. But read my lips. I had a lot to do with Kennedy dying. No shit. Bastard. And his son, stupid son of a bitch, I'm so stupid. Got the damn book upside down. Blow up some towers, you know. Sure. Right. And Obama, I really support all these people because I'm related to them. Read my ears. Look at them. Agenda, 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 agenda. Fuckers. Like Jesse Ventura. Slack jaw. It's just the truth. Yeah. But you know, when you stop and you look at this, that's like, you know, the thing with the Wizard of Oz. I mean, like, it's really, that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So they create a vacuum. They get rid of their enemies. And then they fill that vacuum. And then they say, well, war actually brings peace. You're full of shit, dude. Maybe you should just stop creating war. How about that? Everybody's talking about Trump. You know, man, Trump is a lightweight. Okay? Compared to what I would do. And all these idiots with they're going to put us in camps. Why didn't they already do it? They had the chance before. What are you talking about? All these imaginary things they have, like the tail of the handmaid, whatever the bullshit is called, whatever it is. Like they're over here saying all this. I don't condone that weird shit. I wouldn't be on board with any of that. But stop saying that that's what's happening, because it's not. Now, I would put you in camps, but I wouldn't do it that way. I wouldn't discriminate at all. I would be equal opportunity campist. Kind of like Stalin or Hitler. But just a little more not so evil. I would put the evil people in there. Right? Some say that they were putting the evil people in there. It's all a matter of perspective. Now, do I really believe this? No. And would I put people in camps? No, I wouldn't. I'm joking. But seriously, you know, shut the F up. You're not oppressed. Like, they want to rape us. They want to do. Nobody's trying to do. Look at you. You're obese with blue hair. Nobody wants you. Stop. Nobody's trying to do anything to you. This man was raping me with his eyes. Like, really? Because he just told you, you know, hey, it's $8 for your cigarettes. That's all he said. And he's trying to molest you via convenience store purchase, whatever. These people are out of their damn minds. And all these people saying they're going to move out of the country. Get the F out. Go. But why go to another Western country where you can espouse your same bullshit? Why don't you go to one of these places where they chop off your lips for talking shit? Like Saudi Arabia. That'd be the place to go right there. All the sand that you could eat. Yeah. Who is going to take over Syria? Well, who has designs on it? Who wants to take over Lebanon? Why are we going to act like we don't know? I mean, come on. But anyway, enough about that. But you see my point, though, about the Iranian thing. Yeah. And then after that, we go, you went in there and you took over a sovereign nation of Kuwait, a little greedy butt plug place. That's all they are. Greedy little devourers of you know, their money. And so we got a lot of oil from them. So we went over there and we kicked the shit out of Saddam. And Saddam is in shock. He's like, why in the hell are you doing this? Because this country is run by evil people. Or they did it. But that's my point, you know. But anyway, back on track with what we were talking about. Sorry for the segue into whatever. Trevor Law, yeah, I agree with that too. But the people over here have been so brainwashed to believe these fallacies because the powers that be have a vested interest in making you believe that bullshit. No, they weren't the get-along gang. They weren't good guys. but it was evil on evil. Make no mistake. 2 wrongs don't make a right. But one of them is the eternal boogeyman, and the other one kind of gets a pass. Especially since we threw our lot in with him. And I better not say anything about Churchill. I got attacked by British people. And they defend the crown, too. God save the queen or king or lizard or whatever it is in charge. Boy, they go nuts. They get mad. I'm boycotting your show. Are you done talking about me, old chap? They get so mad. I'm like, look, I don't like soccer. I don't like the queen. All right. I don't. I love you. I love the British people. I don't love your ways.
What does the royal family even do at this point? Like what
They eat children.
Well, besides that, but like what decisions do they make that actually affect the lives of like British people?
Yeah.
Or what do they do for British people at all?
Nothing. And they get paid for it. It's a sweet gig, believe me. I just don't like their ways. You know, I wish they would do something, you know, about all this nonsense that goes on over there. But, you know, I feel bad for them. I feel bad for them because their government is so corrupt and so awful. And the actual British people are just getting screwed left and right. But these, and I got a lot of fans over there too. I got a lot of fans in Australia. And I like those countries. I mean, I have no problem with them. You notice they're still free to a degree, not as free as we are. But that's why these the tards went over there to. I'm leaving. Because Orange Man bad, so they ran over there.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else and don't go like out to the countryside. Go stay out in the middle of the city. Why don't you go to Paris? Huh? Because there's no more French people in Paris, right? If you want to live there, you want to go look at the awful tower and the other awful shit, but you don't want to live there. Oh, I don't want to live here. It's trashed. It's gross. And please stop with the multicultural historical shit. Watching the Serpent Queen, and I love black people, I love Hispanic people, I love everybody. But if it's a movie about the Zulu, are you going to have some Dutch guy running around out there like in a loincloth? If it's a movie about the Greeks, they put a Hispanic or a black person. Come on, dude. You think I'm stupid?
Mads Mikkelsen as Shaka Zulu or Owen Wilson.
Well, The Last Samurai, starring Tom Cruise. Dude, okay. So culture appropriation works both ways. But I don't think black people are clamoring to go be in some medieval historical piece. They're not the ones that are like, hey, you need to include us in your story about Lancelot and King Arthur. No. I don't hear any black people saying that. All it is just the dumbass tards, the tard nation, you know, with the blue hair and the retardation. And they're like, we got to have like a, you know, like a person who's got 54 genders, and they have to be a Hispanic, disabled Hispanic lesbian has to be in there to be Lancelot. And you're like, wasn't he like an Englishman? No, because what we're going to do is we're going to put Ellen DeGeneres, kind of like a boy anyway. We're going to put that thing in there, and that's going to be, I'm Lancelot.
Pat.
Craft services don't have children fingers in here. Where are they at? Anyways, enough of the rants. You get what I'm saying, right? I mean, I'm talking about the historical pieces. I don't give a shit about the cartoons. Everybody's like, Ariel should be black. I don't give a crap if she's black, white, but I don't watch that shit. I don't care. But I do watch historical pieces, and I don't want some dude that's you know, like that doesn't make any sense. He's like, I'm your brother. And it's like, really? Because we are completely two different shades. He's the color of my shirt, and she looks like a sheet of paper. That's your brother?
Same mom and same dad.
He's like, yeah, ho, you my sister. Ho? Shit. What? And what? Then he slaps the shit out. Get out of my face. You ain't no queen. Puts his feet up on the couch like Dave Chappelle. They interview her, and she's the Serpent Queen's like, I was shocked. I don't know why I speak with this British accent because I'm actually Italian and the Queen of France, but whatever. Besides that weirdness, yes, Jamal did put his feet on my couch. They interviewed Jamal. I didn't put my feet on that bitch's couch. 2 seconds later, yeah, I put my feet on that bitch's couch like all the time, like every time. That's exactly what it would be. It'd be like the real world. And then when all else fails, you're a racist. You're a blah, 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 blah. You're a blah, 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 blah. But shut the fuck up. All right. No apology on that one. I don't care. Remember when Martin went back to medieval days? Yeah. Well, that was a movie, though, that was supposed to be
I
funny.
remember that movie.
Yeah.
It was called Black Knight.
It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be that. And it's supposed to be ironic because he's black. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that movie was supposed to, like, it didn't take itself seriously at all.
No. I'm just talking about, like, a movie about Caesar, and it's, some black dude.
Yeah.
And stop with the Cleopatra bullshit because she was not black. I promise you. She was a Ptolemy. And they interbred. She was Greek. So that's the thing. I don't give a shit if people don't like it. Leave, go. It hurt my feelings. If you haven't noticed, I'm not really a giver of F. Okay, maybe you should stop having your feelings on your shoulder. People have incidents. They have encounters with weird things all the time. But sometimes I wonder if this stuff is not even any weirder than what's going on in our own world. This bizarro world that we're living in with the clown shoes. Carrie, yes, absolutely. History gets warped by Hollywood. Let me post that on there. Cleopatra was not a Phoenician. She was a Ptolemy. No, the Phoenicians are Lebanese. So, if you going back to what we were talking about though with this case, this study, like I'm looking into this guy's story. It could be anything, but it has certain parameters that it follows, like a lot of these cases do. I don't think that these people, when they see these things, I don't think it's like a coincidence, like they just happen to be at the right place at the right time. I just don't believe that, man. I think that there is something that goes on. And, I think people see these things for a reason. I think that there are certain people, and I think certain people have this ability, and others just don't have it. I think that I do. I believe that's what it is. When you, like the guy who said his uncle was a werewolf. Now, here's an interesting thing about that. Like, he goes into some detail in this story, and I'll give you a little preview of what we're going to talk about on one of the pre-records. The guy who told us this, and I think his real name, we'll call him Mondo, because that's his middle name. We'll go by that. We don't have to put him on the spot. But Mondo, what he told us was very interesting. His uncle had told him, now get this is weird, that in the grounds where he hunted, now his uncle supposedly is a shape-shifting wolf-like creature, right? I'm not even going to use the word werewolf because somehow people get all twisted up and get angry. But where his uncle would hunt, he claimed that there were Bigfoot out there that were interfering with what he was doing at night, his nocturnal proclivities toward going out there and doing stuff. And he ran into Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it. Hairy forest people. And so when he told us this, he said, my uncle had stopped going out, for long periods of time because there were Sasquatch in the area. And he said that they were migratory and that they came from under the ground because that whole area is covered with caves. That's interesting because if you stop and you look at this situation, like I said, we're going to talk about this, what his uncle claims he saw. Because it's like his uncle chose him and his brother, his half brother, to be the people that he dumped all this on and told them, He said, my uncle would drink. He would make this homemade wine from Mustang grapes. I know what that is. Here in Texas, people do that. Good stuff. Make you sick. But he would drink it and he would get nutty. He goes, and then sometimes he'd watch TV. He goes, it would scare the hell out of me. He would tell us, don't tell your mom and dad what you saw, because his face would morph when he was watching football or something. He'd get mad. And they'd see his face kind of go, turn into a monster. He's like, but I got to say, he never hurt me and my brother. And he's like, me and my little half brother, we were always being babysat, by my aunt. And my uncle was there. He goes, she was a sweet woman. He believes his uncle is responsible for her death. That she tried to get away from him and she crashed her car to get away from him. She didn't die in the accident, but she died later because she was paralyzed.
No.
But he believes that. So very interesting. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to do a pre-record on that because, I got to flesh it out, but it's going to be a good one because that's interesting. A guy who claims that he's a werewolf and he's over here running into Bigfoot out there. Because honestly, that's something that I had thought about a long time ago, but it wasn't like, it was just in passing. And I thought, what does a dog man do when it runs into a Bigfoot? And what if it's a person? What if it's a skinwalker? And would that be classified as a type of skinwalker? Could this bear man, wolf looking thing that was there at that subdivision be a type of skinwalker, or his brother Cece, what he saw? Could that talisman have summoned a skinwalker that was in the area?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, for digging into your back on some of the people, like the 4 people that listen to the show that are on that side of the fence. There's 4 of you. I apologize to y'all. Sorry. Not sorry. Honestly, can't even apologize with a straight face because I don't give a shit. I hope you don't watch. I hope you get mad, offended, and go away. I don't care. And the other day, some guy got snarky with me, and they're like, you're only going to have 10 people left watching your show. And I go, cool. And hopefully those people will quit bitching in the comment section. I got more important things to do than give a F about what you think. How about that? Because I promise you, people are still going to send me their stories. And I promise you, people are still going to come and watch this show. I promise you. And it ain't fake. I don't got to do the faking, the fakery, the prestidigitation. Look over there. Oh, there's a rock. Ah, that was Bigfoot. I don't need to do all that shit. I'm doing boots on the ground with my family. No, you're not. You're walking around your property throwing rocks and pretending like it's Bigfoot. You're full of shit. And there's a bunch of people just like you. Cookie cutter tards. You're from the Tard Nation. What in Tard Nation? Because you got the other side of the fence too that goes too far. And they have a sister wife and whatever else weirdness that's going on, or wackiness. I'm a supporter of Trump. Why? Because he's white. White makes right. Don't you know? I hate this movie. Why? Because there's black people in it. You're not upset because of the way they put the people in the position, different. No, it's just straight across the board.
Part of the white trashionalist movement.
White trashionalist movement, yes, exactly. And they're like, or they think, oh, that guy, he's like us. He hates everybody too. No, I don't. I'm just tired of the bullshit. How about that? How about we just leave people alone? Quit going into people's land. They treat us like animals. Well, why are you here? Because my hood sucks. Exactly. Don't trash it out. Get rid of the problems. And it's glaring problems that can easily be fixed, but political correctness run amok has kept us from dealing with it. Me personally, I don't give a shit. They're going, oh, they'll censor your show. Good. We'll just go to Rumble. We're going to give you gout with curses and we're going to make you have a kidney stone, whatever. And they're bragging, telling me this crap. You should hear the emails. I'll read them out loud. You'll think these people are out of their damn minds, but they really are taking credit for this shit. I'm not going to say your name because you want me to say it. No, they're like challenging me to read it out on the show. Why would I do that? Because you're full of shit, man. Like John Denver. That John Denver's full of shit, man. Don't care. I'm still going to be here on Sundays. Pissing you off. And they're over there just like, just angry, making up the most ridiculous shit that you could ever imagine. They say things to their audience that is just tarnation. I can't watch it. First of all, I don't have time to watch baloney. But I don't even to know what people are. They'll send me stuff, be like, look at what they're doing. I can't look at it. I don't know what they're doing now, and I don't give a shit. I don't know what these madmen are doing. I don't. Did you know what the cosplayer of the LBL? I don't know. I don't give a shit. Does he still have a show? The F if I know. I don't even pay attention to that guy. We got things to do here at PRT. Plus, we work. These people, they don't work. They don't have jobs. So they're going to sit around and be pissed off, trashy trailer people. They don't care. And I'm not saying it because you live in a trailer, you're trash or whatever. We have a double wide out there at the property where we have out in the country. But it doesn't make me trash. But that was why we needed to get another in the town, But that, I don't judge people for that. But when you act like the stereotype, then forget about it. That's what you are. Read some of the comments here. So, Amber says it's painful to watch some people exist. Yes. Yeah, pretty much. Jordan Cogburn. Yeah. Pretty weird. So let me ask the audience, if you have any questions about this encounters that this guy had, like I said, we're going to get into some of this, I think it's interesting that these encounters that took place in this area that's all around the same corridor. That has to speak volumes about this because it lends credence to what these people are saying. There's two more things that happened to this guy at the job site. One, like we already talked about when him and Henry, the other super, saw what they think was that creature. There was another encounter. He was driving up to the fence in the morning. He goes, and he was happy because that weekend he wasn't going to have to work on the Saturday. That he was like Friday, he only had a half day. And I don't remember what the deal was, but he only had to work the half day, so he was happy. He goes, I'm in a really good mood, and I see this big black furry thing get up and move right there in front of the fence. It effed my whole day. He goes, I ended up like hitting my finger on a hammer. With a hammer, he hit his finger. And he goes, and then I cut my other finger wide open and had to go to the hospital and get stitches. Then I had to wear a pair of gloves that were getting in the way for the next 2 weeks. And he said it was just a pain in the ass. Like every time he saw it, something bad would happen to him or one of his workers. Now, he said, honestly, that morning, he goes, I didn't get a good look at the thing. He just knew that that's what it was. He said that it felt like it was laying there by the fence. The way that these things make people feel, that he felt like it was there to antagonize him. These things are dickheads, dude. I'm telling you. And so it did it because it was like it was a jerk who wanted to make him afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So. So in the next incident that happened, he was there late at night and he was locking up one of the Falcon storage boxes. They put their tools in there. And he said that we were locking it up. He goes, and then we hear this howl, and I'm with two of the workers. And this one guy, Martin, he said he was standing there, and he told him, hey, Jefe, and he stopped. He goes, I was talking. He goes, they had heard it, the first howl. He's like, and then we stopped. He goes, and I was listening. He goes, and then he's like, it was weird. We thought we heard like a popping noise coming from the garage, from one of the houses that was right next to the Falcon storage box. He goes, so we all kind of walk over to the garage and we hear this popping noise that was very loud and echoey. He goes, and then something hit the garage from the inside very loudly. And he goes, dude, at that point, he goes, I was freaked out. He goes, I hear this bang, up against the garage. He goes, so we all took off running, got in our vehicles, and we took off. He goes, as I'm pulling out, I see that thing walking on the one side of the fence toward the property. And I saw it from the back, and I just drove by it, and I saw it, and it was clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was dark. He's like, it was clearly what that was. And once again, he said it was like an antagonistic thing. But it was from the other side of the property where he saw it, from where the noise was happening from that house. But if there was something there that was set up by maybe, I'm going to say a hypothetical. Hypothetically, maybe a shaman or somebody set something up to trap this thing there. There could be other things spiritually bound there. Because, there's these traps that they can set, and they're not necessarily specific. You know what I mean? It's just going to catch whatever that energy is. But then there's others that they make that are specific. And that's where dream catchers come from. People like that. And then people say, well, we don't really know the origins. We think it was this tribe, that tribe, whatever. We don't know for sure. But there are people that swear by them. They really do believe that they make your dreams better, and they have this sort of, but it could be an energy that you give to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it works at catching bad dreams. And it filters them out for you. Or maybe this thing, like what it does, it catches this, being or whatever, and locks it up into that sort of, prison. And then it comes back out when they start digging into the ground. And who knows when they actually hit whatever it was to release it. About 2 miles from that job site, there was a cave. And they did find, according to Luis's guy that worked with him, they did find, a drawing in there. I don't know. Andres says, Wolf, did he describe the amulet in detail? Yeah, he did, actually. And it was like these 4 arrows, one pointing in each different direction. And it was like carved into like this piece of like black. Sounds like obsidian, what he was telling me. Oh, look at this. Look at this elbow. Look how red it is. Looks all deformed, dude. Look at that. It's very painful. Folks, if you haven't already, buy yourself a membership. It's $5. And I don't know where the membership button is. Where would it be at if they're looking at it on their phone?
If you're looking at it on your phone, it's going to be see right there by the bottom of the chat box. There's a button right there. See a little $sign button? Click on that. It'll bring you up right there. See membership. Or wait. Right there, see a little green button. It says membership. That's what you're looking for.
Okay, we better take a picture now. We have 520 in here. We had 550 something earlier. By the way, we can use it to argue with idiots in the groups on Facebook. See, nuh-uh. I have more than 176 people. Look, I'm important. So my brother and I have embarked on a mission to write a book about the house that we lived in. And my brother was telling his part of it today, and I was looking at it and reading it. It was interesting. It's very good. If I could get time, I could finish the vampire book. About halfway through, or a little over halfway, but I don't have time. Don't have time. I got too much going on, not just with work, but with just my life. And then I have to, on top of that, do the show. And, this isn't a chore. I mean, this is fun. I like doing this. This is cool. But there are some days where you go, shit, I got to do the show, But then when you stop and you look at what you have ready to go, you're eager to talk about it. And I was today. And I don't want to let what's happening to me with whatever, my health, and make you feel bad, because nobody wants you to feel bad. And if you're one of those weirdos that thinks you're going to be put into a camp by the Orange Man, I don't want you to feel bad, but I want you to stop saying stupid shit, because it's not going to happen, much to my chagrin. I'm joking about that. I am really joking about that.
I'm just going to start telling them they should be scared.
I would not want that, actually.
I'm just going to start agreeing with them that they're going to get locked up and making them terrified.
Turmeric, Patricia, turmeric actually is anti-inflammatory, and I take that every day. But I don't know. Milk thistle is for the liver. It will slowly repair the liver. There's a lot of evidence that points to that. Yeah. So, I don't know. Oh boy. Yeah, you were told you're going to be the camp entertainment director?
Yeah.
Really? Ridiculous, man. This is some of these things these people come up with. Ridiculous. And apologize that Nellie's channel hasn't had a chance to. We put a video up there the other day of a drive we did. Nice on Thanksgiving. Yeah. So whenever you go to her channel, there's going to be some stuff coming out, but she's taking care of me, and she's very busy. And then I'm very busy, and it's just like right now she has to go run errands because we're in town, so she couldn't be on the show. She had to go run errands. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and do the giveaway now. Okay. Because I don't know if we're going to do the mail offs tomorrow or Tuesday, but it's going to be pretty soon. And we got to get Tony, because he's living in town. We're not. So, yeah, you're right. The NAC is another one that supposedly repairs the liver. But if you're agreed, let us know that you have not won. We'll go with those people first. Yeah, last week we had people that had won, and we picked them because there was nobody.
Karen Eaton, she's the first one. She's never won.
So Karen's won.
So make sure, Karen, that you send us your shirt size and your mailing address to our email.
Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. Can't bend my arm. I'll take it.
Just waiting for 2 more members who haven't won.
Gotta tell you something silly too here. Hold on. So I went into my friend's bar the other night. I don't drink, okay, but I went in there, and I don't drink because I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm more gooder than you. No, it's because I got gout and kidney stones, and I can't drink. Otherwise, I'd probably take a shot every once in a while. I've never been a huge drinker, except when I was young. But I went into my friend's bar, and she's a good friend of mine. I've known her for years. And she's also a real estate agent. Her name's Devin. But we went in there to Main Street Bar in Round Rock. And hold on one second. Work.
Trevor Law that hasn't won either. So, Trevor, you're our second giveaway winner. Just shoot us an email with your mailing address and your shirt size to Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com.
Yeah, Tyrone said that he tried to buy the store for some reason. I don't know what's going on. We can't figure it out, but we're going to have to, because a lot of people are trying to buy merchandise. And then
I'm looking into it. There's something wrong with it, some kind of shipping error that's going on.
But we're going to be changing everything pretty soon. We just haven't had time to get it done. So I go into this bar and they're playing some song, Unholy Oleo, Cornholio. I don't know what is this. So my wife tells me it's Sam Smith. So I'm like, what is this? What is this music? Unholio, Cornholio, Julio. I couldn't figure out what the hell they were saying. And it was and there were all these girls in there. They were dancing around, booty dancing to this music. They're bouncing around doing it, whatever. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? Like, who is this? And it sounded evil. Mm-hmm. Like the way it sounded was just evil. So then you look this guy up and you look up his music, and it is like he's dressed up like the devil. He's a really fat guy. He looks like the devil. And the song is just about something bullshit, whatever, a guy cheating on his wife, whatever, and it's unholy. The whole song is just called Unholy. And but he's saying like Unholio, Cornholio, Don Julio, my booty hole, a bunch of crazy, whatever. It's unreal. And I'm like, these people are disgusting. Like, how can you even, you mentioned Knack earlier, D. I saw your comment. Yeah, you did. You got it. But it was unbelievable. I mean, I'm sitting there going like, this is the kind of music that we're. And so at Christmas time, there was a guy talking about it on the radio. I don't know what it was. Some podcast or something. I heard it. My wife was listening to it. And the guy was talking about how they took away that song, Baby, It's Cold Outside, because it was full of toxic masculinity. The radio stations refused to play it. He's like, you really should stay. And she's like, oh, it's, I got to go. And he's like, no, it's cold outside, whatever. He keeps on, saying that. Oh, so now you're getting frustrated and using all capitals. Jeez. Look, he just says, geez, same time I did. You said the term. You said that you weren't. It wasn't being heard. We saw it. Your comments were on there. Like we saw it on here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Somebody said something about trees or stones concentrated in that area. Let me go back over here. That area does have a lot of cedar. I've noticed that. But it's stones, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But okay, so the year that they started complaining with the wokeness about that song, "Baby It's Cold Outside," the main song, the guy was on the radio. He was saying that the number one song at that time that they started the complaining was called "Wet P."
Oh, WAP. Yeah.
So, and then you listen to the lyrics of that song, and you're going like, "What? What kind of crazy, lunatic, bizarro world are we living in where that song is perfectly acceptable, but baby, it's cold outside. We got to get rid of that."
Yeah.
If you have half a brain, you don't even have to have a whole brain. Some might say you could even have an abnormal brain. You could have any kind of brain, whatever. I'm telling you, man, a person with a IQ of 2 could tell you that's evil. Unholio, cornholio. Like, really, dude? Like, what in the F are we doing here? And there's these like women that were in there. It's not Devin's fault. It was some person that played it. It was like where they sing it. What's it called? Karaoke?
Karaoke night, yeah.
Yeah. So somebody chose that song, and these women that look like they were middle-aged women were jumping around booty dancing to that song. They looked like they probably had kids, that were probably
the song was
middle
probably
schoolers.
about the song was probably about them. That's why left the kids at home.
And you're going like, what in the hell? But it's a pretty cool place. I mean, I'm gonna give Devin her credit because it's a neat little bar, and it's like it's got kind of like it's a very old building downtown Round Rock, and it's got a really cool atmosphere, whatever. But it's just that song came on, and I was like, ugh. So after that, I was like, I'm out of here. But yeah, it was crazy. And it just then today I heard somebody talking about that "Baby It's Cold Outside," and I'm like, yeah, let's ban that song from the radio. But let's talk about WAP. Like, I mean, anybody with like I said, half a brain could tell you something is wrong with this shit. And then people are like, there's so much evil in the world. Why are there so many demonic things happening? Why is there so much? There's so much of this. People having encounters with demons and weird cryptids and they're seeing UFOs and all this kind of stuff. Why is this happening? Why do you think? If you're an evil entity or a race of entities, and let's just say for argument's sake, I'm not saying I believe this because I don't know. Let's say you were able to walk through a Stargate, or you're cruising the galaxy, whichever way you want to believe it happens. Or you could bend space and time. You have a certain energy, a disposition. So you're a reptilian or a spacefaring race of werewolves. People say that some people claim that's real. There's that too. But why would you go somewhere that's good? You're going to go to where that energy draws you to it. Water seeks its own level, folks. So they're going to come to our world to loot, plunder, kill, and destroy and steal. And you're opening the door for them with cornholio. Or whatever, Don Julio, whatever it is he was saying in the song. I don't even know what the hell he was saying. I know he's a gross, fat guy that dresses up like the devil. That's all I know. And people booty dance to his disgusting music. He's a slimy slug, and these people, they all are. He looks like a big fat wannabe Eminem. Like if Eminem got obese and said to hell with it and gave up, stopped doing the drugs and just started, banging down, kolaches. I don't know if you know what that is. Here in Central Texas, there's a lot of Czech people, and they have these things called kolaches. It's a pastry. I don't understand it. But I will say this. When I talked to the guy that we talked about tonight, at the time that he was seeing those things, I told him, I said, there's two things I took issue with. And I wasn't judging him or being judgmental. I'm just saying this is what I would have done differently. I would not have gone to the curandera. I wouldn't have. I would have gone to Christ. And then the other thing that he did, because he was in a bad way at that time, he was having some problems, like, I mean, mentally not, they had lost their brother who had passed away, him and his brother. But he was really close to his brother, more close than Cece was. Because him and this other brother, Cece's 4 years younger than them. He's 5 years younger than them, and he's 4 years younger than the other brother. The brother that died had cancer. He was they were Irish twins. They were born a year apart. 2 days, a year and 2 days. Your brothers are like that. They're born a year and 1 day. They're Irish twins.
Yeah.
And so he was very close to that brother. And so he started drinking very heavily. He's like, I never drank on the job. He's like, but my wife would call me and be up my ass because she's like, you need to get home. Because she knows I'd stop at a bar or something, close to the house and drink. And I was drinking very heavily. And he was, and I'm not saying whether you drink or smoke pot, it's whatever you do, but he was doing those two things quite a bit. And he was going through a lot of anxiety, and he got prescribed a particular medication for anxiety, and he was downing those and drinking a lot. So I asked him, I said, do you think it could have contributed to what you saw? He says, no, absolutely not. So what I say is that, yes, it is possible. I'll throw that out there. But I don't believe that that's the case. So let me catch up on the chat. Did we find the other? Yeah, that's another thing too. I saw that about the Travis Scott concert. And then look at Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey is another one. I mean, she's got this really catchy tune, how does it go? It's like
I think it's called Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, and the land of gods and monsters. I was an angel, living in the garden of evil, whatever. And in that song, she basically talks down on God twice in that song. And people are like, dude, when you take pictures of her on stage, her face turns demonic. No shit. People are passing out and their eyes are rolling in their head and their tongues are coming out and stuff. And there's all this weird stuff going on in these concerts with all these people. And you're like, what a shock. What a shock. I got invited to go watch Beyonce years ago in Houston, a long time ago, or wherever the hell she was at. And they had tickets. A friend of mine, his wife was like, come with us, And I was like, no, thank you. And I was dating someone at the time that would have loved to go to that. And I told her, go ahead. I don't want to go. I told her she was evil. I said, she's evil. No, she's not. She thanks God when she wins awards. Who's God to her? Moloch?
Yeah.
Baal Haman? Who's God to her? Who's her God? Lucifer. Yeah. Pretty sure that's it. The fallen. Those are her gods. And you got there's sick people doing the most sick things. And what they do is they get dirt on people and they use it against them, but then they don't even stop to realize that they're being used by somebody above them that's got dirt on them. And what their dirt is all the dirt that they've collected. You see what I'm saying? So like all the dirt that Diddy got on everybody by videoing all this wild shit, the people above him said, okay, it's time to cut him loose and let him be a sacrifice. So then they threw him under the bus and because there's people above them.
Yeah.
They're not the main people. If they're on TV, folks, and they're being exposed, they're not the main people. They all have handlers. They go above them. Do people not realize that Hitler had a handler? People don't realize that. He was sent into a National Socialist meeting by handlers from the Weimar Republic, which I think were globalists. Now, the debate can rage on until the end of time whether or not he went off the rails and he left the reservation and said, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to rock this thing. I'm going to make it mine. And I'm going to quit working for the deep state and I'm going to actually do whatever. And he believed in his own bullshit. Or he did what he was supposed to do, more or less. And then he was let go because they knew that he was in Argentina. And in fact, Adolf Eichmann said that when he was on trial in Israel. He's like, he's in Argentina. Go get him. Why am I here? Why didn't you go and get him? Why didn't you go and get Mengele? Why are they allowed to be free? They needed to get rid of Eichmann because they knew that Eichmann had a lot of information about them and they couldn't allow him to live. But they couldn't just take him and execute him. They had to do this kangaroo court trial, which was twofold. One, because when they throw a stone, they hit several targets. One was because they had to do it. Either they'd take him to The Hague, which would have been a lot worse, because then he would have been allowed to say a lot more. So you have to get rid of him. So they laughed it off and made everything he said was just a bunch of bullshit. Kind of like Kanye. Everything he says is a bunch of bullshit. No, it's not a bunch of bullshit. And all these other people who were screaming for years, like 50 Cent. And everybody's like, no, it's all bull crap, Conspiracy theories. Oh, it's all bullshit. They stopped Eichmann at Gibraltar. They stopped him right there. The British had him. I'm not joking, folks. Read the Soviet well, you don't know where to find them, but look, if you can look them up. You can't do it on Google. I'll tell you that right now. But, and this is really getting into Rumble territory, but I'm going to tell you, look, I'm just going to say, they had him. He says that. They'll lie and say that it didn't happen. He didn't say that. No, he did. They had him, and they could have taken him. Why let him go? And then there was this outcry, and they were like, well, we need to get this guy. He's a bad guy. He wanted to get rid of him because he knew a lot of shit. That's what it is. Epstein, same thing. And amazingly, these people are killing themselves left and right. And they love to do a double tap to themselves. They're like, oh God. Oh, my gosh. That blew the back of my head. Clean up. Whew. I got one more to do. I got to do the others. I got to make it look good here. That's how you commit, because you shoot yourself twice, folks. Everybody knows that. Or they shoot themselves right in the heart and then in the head. Because you got about 2 seconds before the heart stops. So then you can go, oh, okay, I did it. I'm completely dead now. I got myself there. We got it. We're good. Well, let's get real creative and kill ourselves by tearing our heads off while our car is chained to a tree. You heard that one? Right? Or that one scientist from Israel who fled to Canada after he said some things that they didn't like. And he shot himself. He gets to his front door and he's like, you know what? I don't want to live no more. He's like, he's holding groceries. I'm going to put the Haga Faga down and F it. You know? I shouldn't have done those genetic studies. I should never have, you know. This is what's happening. There's a whole, like, I mean, it's like a, there's an epidemic of people just unaliving themselves in the most weird places. One guy was hanging out with his family by the lake. He goes back in to get an inner tube and decides, you know what? This is the time. Kids are on spring break. I'm depressed. You know, I'm in here grabbing an inner tube. What better time than just to do it right here? It's not funny. I'm not laughing about the guy, but dude, folks, use your head. Don't blow it off, okay? Don't do it. But use your head. These people are killing themselves at these weird times. There's not an argument that somebody's depressed and they go, no. They're just like, hey, kids, I'm going to go get the other inner tube. Goes inside. We're waiting all week for this. You know, like, I never should have taken those AstraZeneca. I should have taken this Ozempic. You know? Yeah. It may cause anal bleeding, foul thoughts. It may cause you to become a communist and suicide. Ask your doctor if this bullshit is right for you. I don't need to ask him anything because I know it's not.
Symptoms include being killed to death.
Could be die.
Yeah.
Symptoms are could be die. For people from other countries, that's what that means. Like the doctor, they're like, why if something happened, what the effect? Well, could be die. Oh, no, I no want. I no read above third grade, but I know want. Me and my wife, the goat, no want this bullshit. Even they're smart enough to know. Who the hell is stupid enough to do it? Like, yeah, I want to take that shit, man. But you know what? It'll stop, your acid reflux. The side effects are your ding-a-ling will fall off. Your lips will be sewn shut while you sleep. It could be die. I mean, a guy living in a cave in another country that's never seen a computer, doesn't read above a first grade level. And he'll probably know better than these people over here doing this dumb shit. So, I was talking to a friend of mine. He's from Hong Kong. I mentioned him on the show. But I asked him about the Jian Jing. Now think about it. Jin. Like when we started talking, he was like, I think that they're connected to the Jin. And me, I just wanted to know from why he thought that. And so I told him, I said, why do you think that? And he goes, well, they're called the Jin. I mean, okay, fair enough. One's from, Western Asia. One's from Eastern Asia. You don't have the power to deduce shit. Like, you can't just go in your head and go, what, People can't make good decisions. I've seen it. We were at the car lot the other day. One of our friends was literally trying to talk this person out of buying a certain vehicle. Remember Nick told us?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, nope. I want this worse product for too much money because they have the stupid gene. Another thing I think is going on, and I believe this, is that there's a thing called parasites. And I believe that a lot of this is parasites. You need to do a parasite cleanse. It does work. I'm not telling you which ones to do because somebody's going to go and drink some bleach and go, oh, our trainer told me to do that. And then the state will be like, oh, well, now's our chance to get that fuckhead. Excuse my language. Now we can get him. You made them do this. You talked about things. Your naughty mouth, naughty man. Your big balloon head. You. Now you're going to the camp, the real one, the real camp. Not the one from the tail of the hand woman. You're going to the real camp, dickhead, because that's what we want. Because Vanguard, BlackRock, and bullshit. You talk too much. You know that's going to happen. Some bullshit ass person's going to be like, oh yeah, and it didn't even really happen. It's probably not even a real person. You know, we're going to make some shit up, trump up some charge. That's what they do. And then you're in trouble because somebody was stupid enough to ride their bike without a seat. And oncoming other bicyclers without a seat. So that's it. Then the problem solved until the next problem comes along, 1984, all over again. And let's completely ignore the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people who were seeing aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, and all the other crap that's going on. Millions of people see ghosts, 1 and 2. How many people are on the planet Earth? 8 billion? So 4 billion people have seen ghosts, and they're like, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if we have a soul. The Communist Party says we don't, so I'm going to take their word over 4 billion people from across every continent on this godforsaken planet. What in the hell is going on? What is wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? They have the mass retardation. I like what you do, but you not so much. You lie. You are a liar head. Big liar head. And then they're like, nothing to see here, people. Move along. You know, you're just like looking at these demons come out of a flaming building. There's demons there. Like I said, nothing to see here. I'm an officer of the law. That makes me smarter than you.
Bunch of Officer Barbarities.
We'll kick in your door. I'm sure you will.
And shoot your dog.
I'm going to tell you this right now, folks. If you are dumb enough to believe that nothing is going on, and you go stick your head in the sand and actually pretend and go along with this, you deserve whatever you get. Because it is happening. There are people like these people that are seeing these things. When you look at Pedro, what in the hell was that? And how many times have we heard this already? Something swiped at this coyote underneath his truck, and then it lifted up his truck like 3 or 4 inches and then went back down. And then a little black dog comes out. To me, that is exactly what is happening. That's a microcosm of what's happening. Oh, it was a black dog. There was a little black German Shepherd over there. So he's having a little fun with a coyote. He was chasing him around. But yeah, really? Well, why did his truck come up off the ground? A dually, no less. Like, you had to be smoking some crack to believe that that's not, like, dude, and he had 2 people with him. I mean, you know, and these people, like, this guy had no other story to tell. This is what he saw, and he was at that job site. But you hear, and if I was uninitiated, but as Bane says in Batman, you know, we are initiated. I love the villains of Batman. I hate Batman. I wish they'd hurry up and get rid of him. Spoiled rich man's son. I'm rich, so I can do all kinds of things. No, you can't. And too bad Bane didn't break your neck instead of your back. Sorry for all the Batman people out there that get mad because I don't like Batman. I hate that guy. I hate him, okay? They're like, you're jealous. Exactly. I'm absolutely jealous of Batman. Guy's parents died, and he still gets everything handed to him. Whatever. But because you're rich, you can do anything. That's the message it sends to kids. Look, kids, if you're rich, you're a superhero. You're Tony Stark. You're Bruce Wayne. because money talks. Instead of Batman, it'd be BlackRock Man. BlackRock, vanguarding you against yourself. So this guy is full of shit, right? So 1,000 other people who've seen this, they're full of shit. Thousands upon thousands of people who've seen Bigfoot, they're full of shit. Even some of these famous people who've seen them. I mean, like, they've seen it. And you're going like, what's going on here? Well, Elon Musk is different. He's not trying to be Batman, is he? Okay, I'm talking about hypotheticals here. Okay, Jordan, come on now. When Elon Musk starts becoming a superhero because he's rich, then I have a problem with him. He hasn't done that yet. And he's not trying to buy up all the land and make us eat bugs like Dickhead Gates. Or his clone, or whatever's going on with that. No more comment about that. So, look, what is going on here? These people are all full of shit. I had a guy the other day. He said, ghosts aren't real. He wanted to tell me about Bigfoot because he's seen it, but it was flesh and blood, 100%. Right? I'm just gonna go on a limb and say I don't believe your story, dude. First of all, I'll probably get attacked for this, but I don't believe him. He said that this thing crouched down behind a tree stump, laid down flat, but he could still see it on both sides. So he said he didn't believe the stories where they would go behind things and disappear. People just weren't looking because of the grass and all. He gave all these excuses and stuff. So he wanted to come on the show and talk about the physical Bigfoot, and it's basically kept giving me red flags. And then kind of made it sound like if I didn't put him on the show that I was not telling both sides. But he said that he didn't believe in ghosts. And I said, let me tell you something. You don't believe in ghosts, guy. All right, I'm going to do you a favor, and I'm not going to say your first name, Charles. Okay? But I'm going to say this. And this isn't Charles from the one that saw the Bigfoot in Oklahoma. Not
Yeah.
That's not him. This is a different guy. But I will say this. 4 billion people have seen ghosts. 1 in 2 are the numbers. I think almost 100% of the people we've ever talked to have had a ghost encounter. Whether they've seen Bigfoot or UFOs or whatever, they've always seen a ghost or had a ghost-like experience. Because I think that's kind of, to me, it's a prerequisite, dude. Some of these bullshit artists that claim that they're going around seeing all these cryptids and stuff, they never had any ghost experiences. I don't know if I buy into that. Because I don't think you would see that without seeing a ghost. At some point in your life, you will have probably seen a spirit. That's how you're able to see Bigfoot. It just makes sense, dude. And there's people that are just sit there and be mad at what I'm saying. And I got this to say to you. I don't give a F. Because I'm going where the data, where the evidence takes me, which to all we have are what thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people are saying. That's a problem that people, So this guy, he's 27 years old, says he's never seen a ghost. And I said, maybe one day when you see one, then you'll really see a Bigfoot. What's that supposed to mean? Talk just like that. I said, because I don't personally believe the story. Or maybe you just hanging around with that posse from whatchamacallit. And you was just trying to get me to, tell a bullshit story. Is that what you're doing, son? Trying to fool me? You toothless moron. Didn't work, did it?
Fool me twice. Can't fool me again.
Fool me once, a man just can't be fooled again. I voted for Bush 8 times, son of a bitch, and Clinton, because he's from Arkansas. I bet you did, you dumbass. He's like, I'm not into all these conspiracies either. I'm sure you're not. Yeah. You wasted my time. But that happens. People waste my time. what they do. And I'm like, oh, shut the hole under your nose, shut the hole under your nose. I had to. In the middle of him talking. I didn't do that. I wish I would have. I wish I would have done that. Just busted out with the banjo. I swear on everything that is holy, I am going to buy a banjo and my arm will get better. Don't worry. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to play it. I don't know if I'll be able to play very good, but I'm going to play it and I'm going to wear a straw hat and I'm going to play the LBL song. Yes, I am not as talented as my wife writing music or whatever, but I wrote a song about the LBL and I'm going to sing it for you. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish it. It's been 8 weeks and I've only had the first 2 lines. But I am hopeful that eventually Nellie will take pity on me and finish it for me. In between all this stuff she's got to do. And I'm going to play a banjo. And you know what I'm going to do? When a dummy like that guy, Charles, comes on there, Charlie, whatever, when Charlie and the Chocolate Factory come on and try to tell me their bullshit story, I'm going to start playing the banjo and go, is that right? What was that? I don't know. Keep talking. Well, like I said, that Bigfoot was over there behind a stump. Oh, well, what was that? I didn't hear anything. Go ahead, finish your story. I totally believe you. And monkeys might fight on my butt, too. They're going to be part of the band. Because after the Wicked Witch died, well, they were unemployed, and I felt sorry for them. I said, you're a band of monkeys. Where are you going? They're like, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the Super Bowl. They said, you must be a Cowboys fan. I said, exactly. We're always going to Super Bowl. Tomorrow we're going to beat Cincinnati, and it's going to be the greatest thing ever, and then we're going to win all the rest of our games, and we're going to go to Super Bowl. Yay! And then reality smacks you. If you do make the playoffs, the mediocrity will continue, and you will lose in the first round, and the bubble will burst. And everybody's going to cry and be mad. Be like, I'm not going to support the team anymore. Hey, Jerry Jones is me. I don't like Jerry Jones. 7:30 Jeopardy. No shit. So the monkeys, they said, hey, man, where you going? I said, we're gonna go. We're gonna go do. We're gonna conquer the world. We're gonna do. Let's. Yeah, man. Let's like a beatnik, like a band. You know what I mean? Yeah, Daddy-O. So I got these 4 monkeys. No, there was 5 of them. Yeah, that's it. 5 of them. That's the ticket. And we all started playing banjos. We hung out at the LBL. It was a real cool gig. Seeing saber-toothed tigers and such. Yeah. And we got these people to call up other people and say a bunch of crazy shit, twisted shit. And then, you know what we did? Yeah. After all that, you know what we did? We got a person to send them a story that was fake. Yeah. We're hip. We're cool, man. Bunch of beatnik monkeys. It was great. And then I woke up and I was like, wow, what a twisted dream. I know what it was. I ate before I went to sleep and I had this show on. And this guy was sitting there with his sister or his wife. I don't know what. And he had his family, and they were running around the woods throwing rocks. And it was I thought they were monkeys. I don't know. It was weird. Devil monkeys. It happens. Happens to the best of us. I can't even say it with a straight face. I'm sorry, folks. Oh man, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you get it, right? So I have this, the Rebobs. I was in Cali in the dream. That's where I was at. Yeah. I was at Thousand Oaks. Driving up there, man, up above Malibu. And into these monkeys, unemployed. They came out of a portal. They said an evil witch named Glinda had killed their boss. And they needed somewhere to go. I was driving a convertible with horns on it. The kind from Texas. I said, hey, I used to own cattle and oil wells, but now I'm poor. Start a new gig. Let's head back east and go to the LBL and make some shit up. And not everybody in the LBL is making shit up. I'm one particular dickhead though. But you know what I'm saying, folks, right? And they're all giddy right now. They're like, yes, yes. He's acknowledging our existence. I just pee myself. I mean, they're jumping up and down in their trailer right now. Yes. I'm not saying your name. I'm not going to do that. And they're my monkeys, my circus, right? I pay them in bananas. They're a cheap form of labor, but they love it. They love the bananas. They don't care about money. I gave them money. You know what they did with it? They put poo on it and threw it at me. And yes, they can talk, but they're not reasonable. There's nothing I can do with them. That's all you can do, man. And you're saying, where are they now? I had to cut ties with them eventually. It didn't work out. And they wanted to go to TWC because I gave them bananas. I said, who the heck has been teaching you these things? And they said, your dog. And I looked down and I'm like, there she is. It's Elvira. I forgive her. She was mad because I wouldn't buy her a little squeaky toy that she wanted at PetSmart. So she turned me in. She gave the monkeys the keys. They robbed us. But I learned my lesson. The next time I'm in Thousand Oaks riding around in a convertible with the horns on the front of it, a pink convertible, I'm not stopping for no monkeys. I'm not listening to their sob stories about how they lost their wings going through a portal and how Glenda the Good Witch tricked them, killed their boss. I don't care. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. I'm done helping monkeys. I told them, I said, monkeys, you're not riding my coattails. And they're like, oh, ah. And that's all they did. And they threw poo at me. And I said, no. You've thrown enough poo all over my house, all over the walls. You've pooed it up. No more. And they said, what about our rights as humans? I said, actually, you're not human. You're a monkey. So now we got people protesting outside. Monkeys' rights, whatever. So you got to look at this situation with these vindictive monkeys. You got to look at it and like logically try to figure out what is it that they wanted. It's a dream, right? What were they trying to do? What were they trying to convince me of? After pondering this for 2 days in a completely empty room, soundproof, I came to the conclusion that it meant nothing. It's because I had eaten before I went to bed. So that's what I told Charles. I said, is this real? Or did you, eat some beans on toast or a blob of gravy, undigested? What happened? But I'm going to get that banjo. And when people start telling me that, monkey lives, Matt, you're right. They do. And poo on the wall splatters. So I'm over there playing the banjo for this guy. I swear I keep hearing a banjo just like Mama used to play. I said, yeah, I think that you're right. I think I heard there's a ghost. It's a spooky ghost. I think you're hearing a spooky ghost. It's not on my end. It sounds like it's coming from behind you. He's like, no, that's just the math. He hung up. Dang it. Oh, well. And then like I said, sometimes dreams are just that. They're just dreams. But sometimes the monkeys are real. And the dream is telling you that you have a pack of monkeys around you and that they're trying to suck the life out of you. And that they want to use you. You got to cut them loose. You got to dust them off. You got to get them off of you. Get them away from you. They're parasites. You ever looked at parasites, folks? You know what the parasites look like? I was looking at a book that a friend of mine had sent me to look at. It was not, I don't have the book, but it was pictures. This was 16th century German book about demons. Yes, our tuition just said it. And the pictures of these demons had the same pictures as these parasites that get in our body. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. But there are people who will swear up and down that that is the way it is. Look it up. So, anyways, we've come to the 3-hour mark. A lot to think about, a lot to unwrap. You know, when you listen to the show, there's always twists and turns and things. It's a roller coaster. I get it. But like and subscribe if you like it. If you don't, well, good, whatever. I don't care whether you like it or not. Tell you the truth, I don't even care. If you do, though, great. You know, come back and listen to some more. We always bring our A game. We try to, even when we're being cursed and with gout and kidney stones. It's all right, because it's not going to last. Everything has its season, and then there's an end. So you'll have your little season of pain and suffering. There's a lot of different types of parasites. A lot. So anyways, folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Anthony, thank you for joining the show. To everybody who donated, we appreciate the donations. We thank you for that. We know that a lot of people are going through tough times financially right now because the people in charge have just ran everything into the damn ground, and there are dumbasses that really wanted that to continue. It's ridiculous. But be prepared, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. I'm not joking. Anthony's blowing his nose. Sounds like a spooky ghost out there. Is that a spooky ghost? No, it's just Anthony blowing his nose. Oh, okay. Thought it was an elephant. All right, so we have one more person. If somebody wants to, and if you don't give us your information, like people 2 weeks ago didn't, sorry, but give it to us. Yeah, you're right. Elastic. Yeah, they get their reward in full now. Who hasn't won? If you're in green and you haven't won, otherwise I'm going to pick somebody who's already won. Who? Cowboy. Cowboy, have you won? Simple yes or no. Just type it in. Kevin Lewis says, my res is straight by the border. Dude, if you've seen some things or you have some stories about it, send them to me. He said, I have one. Okay. Well, if nobody else that's in green has Joseph Richardson, I would pick you, but you're not in green. And that's the thing. I don't want people that do. It's somebody said that they kind of were aggravated, and I get it. They were complaining, but I don't like hearing complaints. But I get what they're trying to say. They were like, I bought a membership to be in green so that I would pick. I could get picked, and then you pick somebody who didn't. Yeah, Jamie, I don't know what's going on with that because I haven't gotten it. You might have the wrong email address. So what you need to do is send it again. You're going to have to. Josh Turner, PRTpodcast.com. Red Harvest, member for 16 months. With Red Harvest, you win. Okay, so what you need to do is send us your information, your shirt size. Send us your shirt size and your address. Kevin, yes, please do email me. A lot of people do. Like there's a lot of people who sent me their stories, and I can't get to them all. I mean, people do realize that, right? Eventually, I'll be gone from this earth, and I won't be able to get to your story because there's too many. But occasionally, I'll throw like one person. They sent me their story, and I just said it. I talked about it in passing, and they were like, "Yeah, you barely talked about it." Well, your encounter was 5 minutes long, dude. I couldn't. What can I do? I can't stretch that out into an hour. I mean, I had to just throw it in there with someone else's encounter that kind of lended credence to it. I mean, sometimes that's what you got to do. Red Harvest says, what Addy do I send it to? Okay. It's Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. Okay. Let me.
Yeah, I got it.
I can do it. The banner at the bottom. Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. Mike Taylor says, I won, forgot to send my info, but it's not too late. We're going to mail off like Tuesday. So please send us your information, Mike, if you won. We need your address and your
Shirt size.
Okay. Kevin, if you got enough stuff and you want to come on too, a lot of people don't. They just want to give me their story. They want me to tell it, but if you want to come on, I mean, let me know when. We can do it live or we can pre-record. Problem too, a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to come on live. That's a big problem because a lot of people do not want that. I think it's because they feel like if it's live, they make a mistake or they say something weird or mess up, whatever. I know that's what it is.
Yeah.
So they want to do a pre-record with me, but the problem is I only have so much time and I can't do a lot of pre-records. Not as much as I would like. So, anyways, Cowboy, how long has it been since you won? Email me. Anyways. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to run. I'm going to play it out here.